Using my Barclaycard Forward credit card to pay for the stuff I need now and paying back on time could help build up my credit score for the day I need something bigger. So buying weights for my workout,
Smashed it.
or a set of headphones could help in the future when I buy my first car. Now that's forward thinking. Check if you're eligible at barclaycard.co.uk. 33.9% APR representative variable subject to application, financial circumstances and borrowing history. T's and C's apply. Responsible use of a credit card can help build your credit score when you pay on time.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Land Rover. Here, wherever and whenever you need them. Visit them in store or online. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard as the league takes centre stage again after a week of League Cup final hangover. Rangers fans are expecting a response at home to Kilmarnock, so will Michael Beale make changes? It's a huge day at the bottom with Ross County hosting Motherwell and Dundee United Aberdeen later. That's as well as Hearts, St Johnstone and Livy Hibs. And Celtic will look to either restore or improve their 9-point lead when they go to St Mirren tomorrow. I'm Gordon Duncan. Joining me in the studio, you've got Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
The jury's out on Michael Beale after that cup final loss to Celtic and what he's had to say since then about budget. He's back in the dock today, and second top Rangers can't talk about finance when they're playing second bottom Kilmarnock, who have not won an away game in the league all season long. So, no excuses for Rangers this afternoon. No talk of patience being a bad word in Glasgow. Rangers have won 2 trophies in 11 years. The fans have already been patient. They are now in the mood for action, not words.
Yep, good fixture card ahead today. Something at stake everywhere. Hugh's right with Rangers and Michael Beale. The pressure's on. Kilmarnock's away record, you would think that would be an easy enough afternoon, but as you look down the fixtures, Ross County, Motherwell, loads at stake at that one. Livy v Hibs, that battle for 4th place, and then the big one, soap opera stuff at Tannadice. Jim Goodwin in the dugout for Dundee United against his old side Aberdeen. It's a good day ahead.
I think we've got terrific football this afternoon, Gordon. I think the lads round about the country sitting watching the games will get plenty of goals, plenty of action. I'm looking forward to this afternoon.
Let's get stuck in then straight to Ibrox for team news. What will the response be on the pitch? We find that out at 3 o'clock. What's the response from Michael Beale been? Andrew McLean.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what the atmosphere is going to be like here at Ibrox today, because, you know, since that defeat last Sunday, we've heard it on the phones, we've seen it on social media. There's frustration, there's unrest in the Rangers support. It spans a number of topics: team selection, recruitment, their injury record, things Michael Beale has said to the press, things John Lundstram has said to the press, individual player performances, the list goes on. You'd expect there will be a bit of tension, but in football there is a way to help ease that tension. That is by winning games and playing well. Not all of those issues would be resolved with a good win today, but it's all down to the players to see what they can do on that pitch today, what their response is. They're up against the worst travellers in the Scottish Premiership as well. Kilmarnock have picked up 2 points from a possible 42 on the road this season, something Derek McInnes has been keen to address for a while. You said, what has the response been from Michael Beale? Well, his response is 4 changes to the team that lost to Celtic last weekend. Probably unsurprisingly, out goes Lundstram, out goes Kamara as well. Malik Tillman drops out of the squad altogether, and Alfredo Morelos drops to the bench as well. In come Raskin, Jack, Cantwell and Cholak. So it's Alan McGregor in goal for Rangers. The back 4, James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Borna Barisic. The 2 holding midfielders, Nicola Raskin and Ryan Jack. It's then Fashion Sakala, Todd Cantwell and Ryan Kent in behind Antonio Cholak. The substitutes: McLaughlin, Lundstram, Suter, Kamara, Morelos, Wright, Arfield and Devine. Of course, that is a long awaited return for John Suter on that Rangers bench. As for Kilmarnock, Sam Walker in goal for them. A back 5, Ryan Alabiosu, Ash Taylor, Joe Wright, Jarell Dorset and Luke Chambers. The midfield 4, Danny Armstrong, Alan Power, Liam Polworth and Rory McKenzie. Christian Doidge, the lone striker for them today. The substitutes: Hemming, Stokes, Sanders, Watson, McEnroy, Alston, Murray, Jones, Robinson. The referee for this one, Hugh, cover your ears, it's Willie Collum. The VAR is David Munro.
What jumps out from the team news there, Hugh?
Well, first of all, Raskin comes in. He should have been there last Sunday against Celtic in the cup final, and he did not go on until a stage of the match where it was too difficult for him to do anything about salvaging the cup. So that was a mistake. The manager has rectified that mistake. Cantwell comes back in. He should have played at Hampden last Sunday as well. That was another managerial mistake. And what of Alfredo Morelos now at Ibrox? Taken off last Sunday at Hampden after he had scored a goal. I think justifiably disgusted by the decision to take him off. We all saw him boot the bottles of water as he made his way up to the subs bench. But I wonder, he's out of contract. No contract offer has been made to him. And now he reverts back to the bench and Cholak is number one. I wonder if his days at Ibrox are now numbered.
Mark, is it fairly obvious? I'm not saying Michael Beale has tuned into Clyde One Super Scoreboard all week and said, well, I better start Nicholas Raskin, Todd Cantwell, but clearly had John Lundstrom or Glenn Kamara or whoever had a particularly good game at Hampden last week, they probably would have stayed in the team. So it's the one area that's seen the most change this weekend. Yeah,
I think it's pretty obvious. I think the Rangers fans going along to Ibrox this afternoon will be pleased when they turn up there and see the team news, because the blame was laid at the feet of the three in midfield not being good enough, not being mobile enough. I said that, but lots more people said that. And Alfredo Morelos, there's been columns in the newspaper about what Morelos gives to the team, and all four of those players have been changed. So for the fans going along, they can't really say Michael Beale hasn't done anything dramatic. He's obviously realised that was an error. He was obviously realised he needs some more energy in that side, and that's why he's went for Jack, Cantwell and Raskin and Cholak up front.
Yeah, he's got a bit more energy, front three. Cholak will give them a bit more up top. A big day for him, because he'll be wanting to...
Will he though? Because is that not one of the main debates right now?
In what sense? I think he's more mobile than Morelos. I think that Morelos is a better back to goal player. He holds the ball up and he links the play up well, but I think if you can get the ammunition for the wide areas to Cholak in the box, I think that's when he comes alive. I think he's a good goal scorer. It'll be interesting to see. I think they've obviously got Kent, Sakala, Cantwell in there. I like the fact that Jack's come back in, give them a bit of steel in the middle of the park with Raskin. They'll have enough to beat a Kilmarnock team that struggle to win on the road.
I think it's a real team selection that shows a self-examination on the part of the manager. He didn't have to listen to our programme to understand that he'd picked the wrong team. He must have known instinctively while the game was still going on against Celtic that he'd done the wrong thing. And now, not to appease the fans, but simply to get a better team on the park, he's got Cantwell back in, Raskin, and Morelos, the great enigma. People always use the word enigma in football when they mean, what is this guy all about? This was a once terrific talent, a once superb talent who could have earned Rangers £16 million had he taken the offer that was on the table at the time. He's now a once superb talent in decline, and it looks as if he's going to leave Ibrox in the summertime for nothing. That's not good business.
Been a interesting week on the injury update front, Andrew McLean. Bad news for sure on the likes of Tom Lawrence, and well, I guess Ridvan Yilmaz not quite as bad. John Souttar back today though in the squad for the first time in a long time, and Rangers fans may be hoping that Malik Tillman's absence is a short-term one, because he's not anywhere today, is he?
Yeah, he's not in the squad whatsoever. There was a lot of talk, of course, in the lead up to the League Cup final about Malik Tillman's fitness. There was a few players that Michael Beale had highlighted that were maybe struggling to make that game. Malik Tillman started. He looked off the pace. Whether that was to do with a potential injury he was carrying or not, we don't know for certain. We'll find out when we speak to Michael Beale later on, and we'll find out exactly what is wrong with Malik Tillman and how long he'll be kept out of that one. But he's definitely not in the squad today. That is one that, as you say, Rangers fans will maybe be a bit nervous about, hoping that that's not a long-term one. And John Souttar back in the squad for the first time in months. He's played 45 minutes of football for Rangers competitively. He played the first half against Livingston in the first game of the season, wasn't it, as well, and then came off at half time. So he's back on the bench. Rangers will be hoping that I don't know, is there a potential that maybe later on in this game, if Rangers manage to get themselves in a good position, that they'll be able to get him some game time, but he'll be hoping that he doesn't have any hiccups in his return the way that many Rangers players have had.
Yes, looking forward to that then. Interesting team news today from Ibrox. Lots of changes for Michael Beale, particularly in that midfield area. That's not the only show in town though, because there are huge games up and down the country. And when I say up and down the country, let's start in Dingwall. Fraser Wishart is watching Ross County against Motherwell.
Yeah, certainly up in the country, Gordon, and looking forward to this game. I think a fascinating game ahead. Both teams plenty to play for. I was actually here in December 2020 during COVID, no crowds, when Stuart Kettlewell was sacked as Ross County manager after 2-0 home defeat against Hamilton Accies. He came out to speak to the media, he did his bit, and as he always is, fairly respectful, but he just looked forlorn. And here he is, back as manager of Motherwell for a game that's of significance at the bottom of the Premiership table. He brings his side, of course, as we know, in good form, 7 points from 9 in the 3 games he's been in charge, and he knows that a win today would see Motherwell 10 points ahead of Dundee United before they play this evening. And it's in a battle of the clubs at the bottom of the table. There's 4 in the relegation fight at the moment. Last week Motherwell grabbed a last gasp equaliser at Kilmarnock, something they might not have done previously in this season. And a win for County, of course, against Dundee United. They thrashed them here 4-0. So Stuart Gettle knows how difficult a task this is today, because a win today for County actually puts them level with Motherwell in the table. He's actually changed the formation and the style of play, a bit more physicality about Motherwell, 3-5-2. They get the ball forward to the big strikers of Beacon, Van Veen, support from the midfield, and they'll need that fight today, because any time I've seen County, they've actually played well this season, just not scored enough goals. And last time I was here in December, I had a chat with Malcolm Mackay after the game. He was saying just need a striker, playing well, just need somebody that's going to score a goal, and they might just have found that, because the man on loan from St Mirren, Eamon Brophy, out the plans in Paisley, he scored 2 instead of another 2 last week in the 4-0 win, so he's probably the man to watch for Motherwell today. Pitch looking good, a wee bit of rain has been falling, but that's good because it'll give a wee bit of zip to the ball, so all set up, I think, for an exciting 90 minutes. Unsurprisingly, Ross County are unchanged. They go 4-4-2 formation. Ross Laidlaw's in goals, Conor Randall, Jack Baldwin, Alex Iacoviti and George Harman at the back. Across the middle, Gwyn Edwards, Victor Laturi, Nolan Kenny and Jan Danda, with Jordan White and the man of the moment, Eamon Brophy, as the 2 strikers. Substitutes for County: Ross Monroe, David Cancola, Keith Watson, Ross Callaghan, Josh Sims, Alex Samuel, Jordi Hewula, Dylan Smith and Josh Stones for Motherwell. Just one change. The man who scored that last gasp equaliser last week, Callum Slattery, comes in and Dean Cornelius drops to the bench. So they're the 3-5-2 formation. Liam Kelly in goals, Paul McGinn, Callum Butcher and Dan Casey at the back. Across the middle, Max Johnson, Callum Slattery, Sean Goss, Blair Spittle and James Furlong, with John Obika and Kevin Van Veen as the 2 strikers. Subs for Motherwell: Aston Oxborough, Stephen O'Donnell, Ricky Lamy back after injury, Beavis Mugabe, Ollie Crankshaw, Riku Danzaki, Stuart McKintry, Dean Cornelius and Ryan Tierney. The referee today in Dingwall is Don Robertson, and VAR is experienced Kevin Clancy.
Officially allowed to call them relegation 6-pointers once you get into March, Fraser. That's the rule that I just made up 2 minutes ago, but it feels appropriate, doesn't it? That's really what's at stake here.
Yeah, I was saying there a minute ago, just there's 3 points between the teams, so it could go to 6 or it could go to 0. They could be as close as that. And of course, if you're not playing against the teams around you, then they could also win. But whoever wins today knows, of course, the team that's playing against isn't going to pick up any points, so they're absolutely vital at the bottom of the table, and they're just coming thick and fast. It was the same last week with Kelly against Motherwell. Ross County beat Dundee United here. They've got Livingston next week as well, so there's games coming up that I think that County will fancy themselves to win, and I think they might have the edge today. As I said earlier, I think they're a good team. I think they knock the ball around well. They've got good attacking midfield players. They create chances. Brophy just might be the difference between them staying in the league and not this season.
Yep, good performance and result last week, of course. Have had some impressive showings recently, so we'll keep an eye on that one. A bit further up the league then, is it the battle for top 6? Is it the battle for Europe? Maybe a bit of both. Livy against Hibs, David Friel.
Yeah, I think it is a battle for both, Gordon. It's going to be an emotional, poignant day for Hibs as well. Remember, this is their first game since Ron Gordon's sad passing. The Hibs owner, both clubs will be making their own tributes. They're just out warming up just now, the goalkeepers, and they've got special t-shirts on. Jamal George and David Marshall up the other end as well. And it's also going to be a minute's silence for Ron before the game. Lee Johnson spoke really well about him yesterday, and I think just talking to staff around, the Hibs staff around the ground the last wee while, it's clear that his death has hit everyone really, really hard. Ron was based in America, but he spent a lot of time over here. He took a great interest. I remember being down at Bonnyrigg at the start of the season, and sitting right next to him, you could see that it was just a wee snapshot of how important he felt it was to be there and get to know the players, and there was a real bond there. So it's a sad loss for Hibs, a sad loss for Scottish football. He was always a guy that tried to drive the game forward, make the product better. So I'm sure Hibs will be looking to pay tribute to him with a win today. They're trying to stretch their unbeaten run to 7 games, and there's going to be 3,500 away fans here today, so a huge support. As I said, Hibs have been in good form. They're now only 5 points off Hearts in third place, which is remarkable given their struggles this season. You know, it wasn't so long ago we spoke about that El Sakiko between Jim Goodwin and Lee Johnson, but look at Hibs now, you know, trying to chase Europe. The good news, Kevin Nisbet's back. He's not going to be risked on the plastic pitch. He's on the bench, so is Mikola Kuharevich. He's also back from injury, but the bad news is that Aidan McGeady's season is over through that hamstring injury. I think Lee Johnson this morning is saying that his career might also be over. Aidan's probably going to have a decision to make because it's going to be a long road back for him. In terms of the Hibs team, Matthew Hoppe is in from Gideon. That's the only change from the last game. So it's David Marshall in goals, Chris Cadden, Will Fish, Paul Hanlon, Marian Krabaha at the back, CJ Egan Riley and Jimmy Jegor, the two holding midfielders, with Ewan Henderson, Josh Campbell, Matthew Hoppe in behind Eli Yuan. Also Hibs are Johnson, Miller, Tavares, Nisbet, Stevenson, Devlin, McIntyre, O'Connor and Kuharevich. As for Livy, they start the day in 7th. Struggles recently. I think they badly need a win. They have struggled a bit in the last few weeks. They haven't scored in the last 3 games, and they've only won 1 in the last 6 matches as well. David Martindale's up at Pataudry last week. He wasn't happy with the performance. He'll be demanding a lot better, as he always does, but they do actually have a good home record against Hibs. They've won the last 3 against them here. They've made 4 changes. Ayo Obalai, James Penrice, Sean Kelly and Stephen Bradley all drop out. Morgan Boyce, Christian Montano, Jason Holt and Stephen Omi Onga are in. So Liver going to line up Shamal George in goals, Nicky Devlin, Jack Fitzwater, Morgan Boyce and Christian Montano at the back, Jason Holt, Scott Pittman and Stephen Omiyonga in midfield, with Stephen Kelly, Bruce Anderson and Joel Newbley in attack. Subs for Livy are Hamilton, Obalai, DeLucas, Brandon, Penrice, Bradley, Shinnie, Bahambula and Guthrie. The referee at the Tony Macaroni is Chris Graham, and the VAR is Grant Irvin.
Right, let's go to Tynecastle, where Roger Hanna is watching the home side that were nailed on to finish third. No chance anyone could catch them. Third all day long. It was the talk, Roger Hanna. Is it still the case?
That's a very good point you make, Gordon. I think if this fixture had been 3 or 4 weeks ago, I think we'd have agreed that St Johnstone were in greater need of the points than Hearts. I'm not so sure that's the case today. Yes, they're still third, as you say, but as David made the point there, that pack behind them is only 5 points. 2 of them now headed capital rivals Hibs. Hearts lost last time out at Motherwell. I want you to tell you that 13 days ago, and it's exactly 1 month today since the last won a game in the Premiership, so they will need points, and I think Robbie Neilson will feel that today. St Johnstone, by contrast, they've taken 7 from the last 4 league games to edge away from any trouble at the bottom. They're 11 clear of Dundee United now. They're 7 ahead of that dreaded playoff place that they finished in last season, and they'll feel the Hearts one. They've lost both games this season 3-2, 2 thrilling encounters. Lawrence Shanklin scoring penalties in both games for Hearts. So it'll be an interesting encounter today, and I think there will be a bit of pressure on Hearts. You know how the punters get if they don't start very well here. 3 changes from that side that lost at Fir Park a couple of weeks ago. At the back, Kai Rolls back in for Toby Sibic. In the midfield, George Grant in for Cammy Devlin, and up top, Josh Ginnelly's free of suspension, and he replaces Stephen Humphreys, who's not in the squad at all. And by process of elimination, Gordon, you'll have worked out that means no Andy Halliday. He's on the bench again. So Hearts are Xander Clark in goals. The back 3, James Hill, Kai Rolls, Stephen Kingsley. Across the middle, Michael Smith, Robert Snodgrass, George Grant and Alec Cochrane, and then Barry Mackay, the skipper, Lawrence Shanklin supporting Josh Ginnelly. On the bench, it's Stuart, Atkinson, Sibic, Devlin, Halliday, Keogh, Forrest, Oda and Kuol. 3 changes as well for St Johnstone from the side held at home by St Mirren last week. Phillips is suspended after his red card. Nicky Clark is injured. Andy Considine also missing altogether from the squad. James Brown, Graham Carey and Conor McLennan come in, and we expect them to switch to a back 4 and a 4-1-4-1 formation today. Remy Matthews in goal. Across the back, James Brown, Alec Mitchell, Liam Gordon and Adam Montgomery. In the absence of Phillips, it'll be Cammy McPherson holding. Then a midfield 4 of Dre Wright, Melker Hallberg, Graham Carey and Conor McLennan, and Stevie May up top on his own. In the bench, Sinclair, Gallagher, Witherspoon, Murphy, Rudden, Baer, Ballantyne and 18-year-old centre-back Liam Parker. The referee is Stephen McLean. The VAR is Graham Granger. And if you'll indulge me 1 minute, Gordon, a very rare shout-out. A big fan of the show, Callum Turner, unwell this week, listening today from his ward at Hare Myers Hospital. I won't tell you what team he supports, but he's hoping for a home win in Andrew McLean's game.
Well, we'll soon see what happens in those 3 o'clock games. That's you got your team news. We've got a 6 o'clock game, and my goodness, what a cracker it is. Dundee United, Aberdeen. So plenty of time to look ahead to that one. We always do at this stage on a Saturday. Pause for breath, take a look back on some of the week's biggest talking points. And it's been quite a week, so we'll do that next. And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland, has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now, they've decided though to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
Compare cheap van insurance quotes that really do cut the mustard at mustard.co.uk. Details online, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Action as it happens. And your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
You're up to speed with your team news then ahead of the 3 o'clock games. The top team round the grounds. You've got Gordon Duncan, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins in the studio. Those familiar with the format on a Saturday like this will know we tend to reflect on the week's biggest talking points, and Roger Hannah, even I can't build up any suspense as to what that would have been this week. From the moment you joined us at 2 minutes past 6 on Monday to the moment Hugh Keevins said goodbye at 2 minutes to 8 last night, there was only one topic that dominated.
Yeah, and one man who dominated that topic. Off the back of the Viaplay Cup final last Sunday, you would perhaps have expected a degree of criticism, maybe of some of the Rangers defending, the Rangers midfield, all of whom were hooked. Maybe Alfredo Morelos has been left out today, but 99.9% of the criticism around Rangers for losing the cup final has centred on Michael Beale. If there was a honeymoon period as Rangers manager, that has long since ended. I was astonished at the vitriol that was directed his way after that sporting gesture in the Partick Thistle game. I was flabbergasted that there was that banner out against Michael Beale at the Livingston game. I was very surprised he addressed it in public, that he had been and spoken to some of the Union Bears, and the level of criticism that he has endured this week would lead me to believe that these next few games, Rangers have lost the League Cup, they're not going to win the Premiership, they must retain the Scottish Cup, and if we get to the end of the season and he's not retained the Scottish Cup and the gap to Celtic has gone from 9 points into double figures, I think Michael Beale's got a problem.
Fraser Wishart, you've seen this movie many times. You've seen big games between those two rivals, cup finals, somebody has to lose. Have you been surprised at the depth of the fallout?
I think it's the depth that surprised me, Gordon, not the fallout. Having played at Rangers many moons ago, been there, seen defeats for Rangers and the criticism that comes with that. But the depth of it, I was at the game, and Celtic played well. Celtic deserved to win, but I didn't think Rangers were as bad as some of the critics amongst the supporters in particular are saying. I think, and maybe they're just a wee bit worried about the depth of Celtic's squad, the strength of Celtic's squad. That there is a gap between the two teams. I think there's no doubt about that. And maybe they're looking at the rebuilding job that's ahead and thinking, can Rangers do that over the summertime, given the fact that so many players out of contract and not many are going to be moved on for fees, as well as the money there to rebuild. But remember, Celtic 20 months ago, and Postecoglou came in, had a decimated squad as well, but surely and slowly they've built, and with contacts that Postecoglou's got across the world, have built a really strong squad. So something that just takes a wee bit of patience, but it wasn't so much the criticism, it was the depth of it and the real sort of down I think that Rangers supporters felt, and they need a result today. If they don't get a result today, then that depth of feeling will just only grow and grow and grow.
We spoke about this last night, David Field. Generally, time's a great healer, even in football. Monday, whatever negative result you're reflecting on, it's worse than Tuesday, and then it's getting better by Wednesday and Thursday. But it didn't seem to ever dip this week, and maybe that's because Michael Beale then had microphones in front of his face come midweek and made other comments, and John Lundstrom spoke, but it seemed like nothing made it better for Rangers fans this week. In fact, for some it seemed to make it worse.
Yeah, Gordon, but as Fraser's saying, I think it was more, for me it's more a realisation that Celtic are a bit far ahead of Rangers at the moment. I think that game, probably agree with Fraser, I think it was a classic game. I think Celtic definitely deserved to win and could have scored more by the end, but I think for the Rangers fans, I think there's just a growing realisation that there's so much work to be done to that squad. I think it's a squad that's stagnated. I think the recruitment's been poor, the squad management's been poor, and I think they look across at Celtic being so settled, so stable, with money in the bank and more money to come, and Rangers fans are just starting to think, how big a job is this, and can it be achieved in a short space of time? And I think if you look back to last season, Celtic won the league, but Rangers fans were pretty happy. They get to a European final, they win the Scottish Cup. I think Rangers fans felt they could kick on this year. And you look at the money that was spent in the summer. I mean, Rangers did, it's easy to forget, but they did spend over £10 million on 4 players, plus some good free agents. And I think it's just a realisation, as I said, that you know what, this hasn't worked, and there's a bit of work to be done. Otherwise, Celtic are going to be heading off into the sunset.
I'm glad David Field mentioned money there, Roger, because it seems like a good way to bring it at least a bit more up to speed. Although we're looking back on the week as a whole, I think the should Michael Beale have started Nicholas Raskin debate has certainly been exercised enough. This all got brought to the fore again yesterday, though, or the day before, this notion of gaps and what does or doesn't need to be done to bridge it, and Michael Beale mentioning that Celtic have more money and therefore Rangers are up against the odds, and that seems to have upset a lot of Rangers fans. Would that be fair?
I think you're absolutely spot on, Gordon, and what he said is true, but the Rangers fans didn't expect to have to hear it from the Rangers manager. There will be scope for paying players. James Sands is away, there's another 8 whose contracts expire in the summer. When I say 8, I'm talking well paid senior first team players, the McGregors, Davises, Jacks, Kents, Moreloses, people like that. So there will be scope to reinvest those wages, but what you need the money up front to get the fees to bring the players in the first place before you even pay them. And to tell the Rangers support 4 days after losing a cup final to Celtic that come the summer Celtic will have more money and they'll be able to spend more, and we need patience and there's no quick fixes here, it's all true, but I don't think it helped the mood, or as you would say, helped the narrative from Rangers supporters through the week.
Okay, what's the problem then? If it's true, why are so many people grumbling about it? If it is just this unavoidable fact, what's the problem?
Well, I think Rangers supporters expect the board to fund the revamp, as Michael Beale would call it, the rebuild as the rest of us call it, because Celtic did that. Look at Celtic 2 years ago. I think it's going to be 2 years come Monday since Rangers won the title and ended Celtic's quest for 10 in a row, and in those 2 years Rangers have probably gone a bit backwards. I think the team 2 years ago that won the league would beat the team that Andrew McLean's going to watch against Kilmarnock today. Celtic, after losing the league, went to Ange Postecoglou and have not stopped since. They have had 4 transfer. They have strengthened, deepened, enhanced the first team squad in every single transfer window. Even in the month of January, they are all coming in. Alistair Johnson coming in, Kobayashi coming in, Iwata coming in. It all strengthens the squad. They were all involved in one shape or form last weekend. Rangers supporters expect their board to find that level of finance and keep on Celtic's case.
What do you think, Fraser Wishart? Is it true or is it defeatist? I've seen a lot of Rangers fans point out, well, what exactly is the drama here? Celtic do have more money than us. It is going to be tough for us. He's just telling the truth. And then others would point out and say, well, they may have a slightly bigger budget, but it's not like, off into the distance where we can't be expected to compete. So what was your reading of it?
Yeah, I think the latter point is probably there. Rangers should still be expected to compete, and although Celtic have spent money, and I think he's right that they have more money to spend in transfer fees and probably salaries as well. They've also done it fairly cheaply at times. The players have come from Japan and from Korea as well. I think if you totted up the transfer fees, I don't know, would for 6 or 7 players be more than 5 million? So it depends on your recruitment, depends on the quality of player you get in. It sounded to me as if that Rangers squad, and sometimes people get caught up in having 25, 28 man squads. Maybe Michael Beale's going to go for a smaller squad hopefully promote a couple of the young players who've come in and done fairly well. King, Devine, Lowry could all play a more prominent part in the squad next year. And it certainly as if he's going to go for 3 or 4 sort of quality players that, to try and just boost his squad and go with a smaller first team squad, which to me makes a wee bit of sense in the short term, and I think it is true. But Rangers fans don't want to hear that. Football fans across the board, all they want to hear is the board putting money in, and there's a lot of money put into the club and loaned to the club for stopping 10 in a row as well. So it's a kind of a rebuild. I mean, it can be done. There are free transfer players out there. There are players on sort of in the £1 to £2 million range that the Rangers can get into to bring their team forward. It's just, can they attract them? And that's all down to the scouting, all down to the analysts, and a big job to be done over the coming months. But from Michael Beale's point of view, 8 players leaving, not ideal in terms of maybe no transfer fees coming in as well, but it does free up, as Roger was saying there, a big transfer budget, a big wage budget as well. So he might be able to use that for bringing in 3 or 4 key quality players. But I think it's just because he said it during the reaction to the defeat last week. I think that's why the Rangers supporters in particular reacted. And said earlier, the depth and the real worry, I think, amongst Rangers supporters is there for all to see.
Is this just the illogical nature of football, Hugh, or is it what this rivalry does to people? Because I'm not disagreeing with Roger and Fraser. I assume they're right, but to an outsider, someone who doesn't understand our weird world, if you were to hear the phrase, I mean, it's true, but they don't want to hear it. What is that? What did that mean to anyone outside of this rivalry? Of course I get what it means in this context, but if something is true, what's the harm in hearing it?
Because it's just the way it is. Michael Beale misread the city, and he, for me, talks the way he does, first of all, to protect Michael Beale. And what he had to say about patience being a word that no one wants to hear in Glasgow, then in terms of the Rangers supporters, that's absolutely correct, because they have been patient. The Celtic fans put up a banner at the end of the game last Sunday which said 22 trophies in 11 years, we set the standard. They've got 22, Rangers have got 2, and that includes the spell that Michael Beale spent at Ibrox with Steven Gerrard. They got the league title win which stopped 10 in a row for Celtic, and I fully understand, having lived through the 3 9-in-a-row periods, 2 for Celtic, 1 for Rangers, I fully understand what it means to the supporters of those clubs. However, Michael Beale and the club have to address the fact that they are not successful. They do not recruit as well as Celtic recruit. There is positivity about Celtic, negativity about Rangers, and that's why he has said too much since Hampden. He got Hampden wrong. He picked the wrong team. He didn't put on the subs at the time when they should have come on. And what he has had to say since then, I think, is first and foremost to protect Michael Beale.
Keen to get a unique, in terms of this show this afternoon, perspective on this from you, Mark, because again, it's true and you can't argue with the logic, and generally the teams with the most money win the most games and win the most competitions. When you were a Celtic player, were you ever really aware of whether your wage budget was higher than Rangers? Did you ever think it was a disadvantage if theirs was higher, or an advantage if yours was higher? Or did you just assume that it was kind of close enough that the players would just go out and see who could come out on top?
Never came into my mind for 1 second, Gordon. And I could probably say that about 100% of the squad throughout my years, 6.5 years at Celtic. Never came into mind, because we knew both sides were that far ahead of the others that was our competition. And that was it, end of. We knew Rangers had the ability to have good players, whether that be homegrown or signed. They were coming to the club for a specific reason, and they would be on good money, and similar with us. I just think, I don't know if Michael Beale was asked the question or he chose to bring it up himself about finances, but I just think it's foolish. I wonder what the Rangers board think of the comments as well, because on the face of it, you think Rangers had a choice who they were going to appoint manager, and I think a lot is spoke about Michael Beale coming in and perhaps making players better that's there already, never mind about bringing players in for large sums of money. Now in his 14 weeks or whatever he's been here, I think you said it as well, Daz, I don't see many players getting better. I don't see a style that's that much better. He's getting results okay, but I think the Rangers fans see that as well. So I do agree with you. I think his comments midweek were to say, don't look at me if things go pear-shaped. Look over here. look upstairs, look what I'm being given, and it's not enough to compete. I don't think that's right.
This will alarm you, but you're the voice of reason. You're the final say on this matter before we move on.
Brilliant.
This will alarm more than you, but on you go.
I agree with what most of the boys have said. I thought he was very negative, Gordon. I thought he was putting out there for a reason. Now, Michael Beale got the Rangers job because of this reputation of being a fantastic coach. So I think the Rangers board would have known that they weren't going to have the same budget, obviously, as Celtic across the city, but they were hoping for a bit of Michael Beale bringing in players, making them better, organising a better system to play more fast, attractive football. So far I've not seen this, but I've got to be fair, and I said it when Ange Postecoglou became the Celtic manager. You have got to give people time. You've got to give them transfer windows, and the summer is going to be a massive transfer window for the Rangers manager.
Well, forget the summer, it's a massive afternoon coming up. Rangers, of course, at home to Kilmarnock. We've got fantastic other games at 3, more at 6, more tomorrow. Scottish football, consistently the place to be. We'll go back round the grounds next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Scene is set for a top afternoon of Scottish football. Lots happening not only in the Premiership but down the divisions as well. So plenty for the guys in here and the guys round the grounds to get to. With that in mind, let's start hearing from some managers and their pre-match thoughts. Here is Michael Beale and Derek McInnes.
I think it's really important to show a response and to win. We have 3 games in a week. It's a very interesting week. Kilmarnock at home, who are fighting for their lives down there. We know Derek will make it really tough. He has an insight into our club, so he knows how our crowd are going to react to the start of this game, and I think they'll make it difficult. We need to get 3 points however we get it. It's important we show a strong response now in these 4 games, including Motherwell away into the international break. We need to prove that the weekend was a cup final against a strong rival and we fell short, but the show goes on and we're moving forward, albeit with huge disappointment.
Part of the plan, every manager when they go to Ibrox, I would say, would be to try and get a good strong start in the game and try and, if you're going to get a positive result, it's more or less you have to try and strike that first blood and try and make sure that you show the confidence in the game, have the appetite to take part in the game and go and try and show both sides. You've got to defend well, you've got to be fully concentrated, you've got to be really organised. And we'll take confidence from a couple of the games that we've had, particularly at Hampden and at Parkhead in these games. We lost 2-0, we lost a 90 minute goal, to make the second goal at Ibrox first time around, but I think we're better than what we were then, so we'll take confidence from certain things that we did right, but to ultimately go and win the game, you're going to have to go and show a real attacking threat, and it's getting that balance right between attacking and defending.
Looking forward to that, obviously. Let's go around the rest of the grounds again. Ross County Motherwell's a cracker, a 6-pointer if you like, down the bottom. Fraser, I wonder if this relegation battle is going to come down to who did effective business in January. I mean, you alluded to it earlier on, but when you take it as a whole package, Motherwell signed 9 players, and for the first couple of weeks it obviously wasn't working and Stevie Hamill paid the price. But now maybe guys like Dan Casey and John Obika and Callum Butcher have started to make an impact. And Ross County, they've gone and got Eamon Brophy. It might be his goals that keep them up. Dundee United have been getting stick for what they didn't do in the window. Kilmarnock lost a bit of firepower. So I'm just wondering, when all's said and done, how important the business will be.
It's beginning to look that way, and as you say, Kilmarnock lost Kyle Lafferty right at the last gasp as well, and Ollie Shaw went to Barnsley, so that they're kind of struggling up front. Kyle Lascelles been suspended, so yes, you could be right. All these players, the problem when you bring in so many players, especially the players that Motherwell brought in, is they were always going to take a few games to get up to match fitness, because you're not going to get players that are playing regularly, especially from down south. So Butcher and Casey and Obika all looking a wee bit sharper, or a bit stronger as well, and have all brought something to the Motherwell team, and I think at this stage of the season, when they're playing against each other, of course, after the split, they have to play each other again as well. So there's a wee chance for Motherwell here, a win today, just to start to put a wee bit of distance between themselves and County, Kilmarnock, and then Dundee United at the bottom, and they've been a decent run, 7 points from the 3 games. Stuart Kettlewell's in charge. Reading a stat earlier on that actually said that in the 15 previous games they'd only picked up 5 points, so already he's had a bit of an impact, and they'll come here with a bit of confidence. They won 5-0 here in October, and I was reading quotes from the two managers at that point. Malky Mackay was saying, apologising to supporters, was really unhappy with the team's performance. Stephen Hamill was saying best performance of the season. They'd already won at Tannadice, Pataudry, they've won in Paisley as well, and if you'd said at that time one manager was to lose his job, you probably thought it'd be Malky Mackay, but of course Malky's still there and building up a decent squad. So I think this one will be tight, Gordon. It might just come to whoever's got the edge in terms of firepower. I've got a wee feeling that County might just win this one by the odd goal, 2-1.
Let's hear from Malky Mackay and Stuart Kettlewell, going back to his old club.
They've obviously come off the back of a couple of real good results. I think all season they've had as good a squad as anyone else. On their day, they've been as good as anyone else outside the top 3 or 4. It's just the consistency, and they've got players that can really make a difference in games, just like the rest of us. So. We know it's going to be a tough game ahead.
It can be important. It's not going to define your season again. There is a long way to go. There is a lot of important games, and as I keep saying, as each one keeps coming, the importance and I suppose the pressure becomes greater when you're getting towards that end of the season and seeing the bigger picture. But I think it's two well matched teams. I think it's two teams that have qualities in certain areas. I think it's two teams that are off the back of, for them, a good result, an excellent result against Dundee United, and for us going off the back of 3 pretty decent performances and 3 pretty decent results. So I imagine you're going to get two teams coming up against each other that are feeling pretty good about themselves.
Livy Hibs for David Friel. David, the emotion that's attached to this week in this fixture for Hibs, the sad passing of Ron Gordon, do you think that can ever have an impact on a football match?
Yeah, I think it can. Gordon, as I was saying earlier, Ron wasn't some absentee owner who didn't take any interest in the players or anything like that. He did know a lot of them, and I think he knew a lot of them quite well. And you see the crowd here today. I mean, the Hibs fans are still streaming in. They're taking up almost half this stadium, and I think it will be quite a powerful day for them. I think it'll be emotional, and I think they're driven to go and win the game for him and his family. And obviously, his son's got a prominent position at the club as well. I know his wife came over quite a lot too, so yeah, I definitely think it will be in the Hibs players' minds that they want to go and start paying tribute to him in the best possible way by winning the game today. And as I said as well, in terms of just the football, we're obviously looking to put a bit of pressure on Hearts. Also looking today, if they win, they could go 3 points ahead of St Mirren, who are in 5th. St Mirren also play Celtic tomorrow, and also Hibs' next 2 games are Rangers at home midweek, then Celtic away next week. So I think Lee Johnson will be looking at this game as a huge one for him. He wants 3 points. 3 points could go a long way towards deciding where Hibs finish at the end of the season.
So David Martindale against Lee Johnson in the dugouts.
I think we're at home and we're capable of taking points off anyone at home. Hibs at Easter Road's a different football team to Hibs at Livingston, and that's just, we're probably a little bit stronger. Lee's done a good job, and he's on a trajectory where he's in a good run of form. So tough at the start, but he seems to have turned that around a wee bit. There's a lot of players now came into the club in January that I think's bedded in fairly well. He's brought summer recruitments in that probably didn't hit the ground running initially, that needed to hit the ground running initially. They've now had that bedding in period in Scottish football, and with Lee Sale coming into Scottish football. And I think you can see with that little bit of continuity, and there's been an adaptation period, I think Hibs are in a much better.
I know the fan base's support to the family. I spoke to Ian yesterday, a lengthy chat. I know how much they're appreciating everything that's going on this side, and they'll get an opportunity to show that appreciation back, obviously over the next sort of week, 10 days when they're back in the country. But as in terms of players, a player's role is to be the best they can possibly be every day, and in that sense that will be honouring Ron, because it's giving of your all and then being able to like I say, deliver in those key moments. And if we can do that enough, then the success will come to us.
And then Roger Hannah, who's on Andy Halliday watch from the subs bench this afternoon. Just get the feeling, Roger, that there's a big week coming up for Hearts as well. You talk about a double header with Celtic, one in the Cup, one in the League, and this just goes down as one of those, with no disrespect to St Johnstone, that just a winnable fixture on paper, one that big Hearts crowd turning up this afternoon expects them to win.
Yeah, and they were a disappointing time. There were a couple of weeks to dwell on that defeat and a very disappointing performance at Fir Park. And I think they need to win this. They need to win this to keep the gap to the pack behind that we were mentioning earlier, Gordon. But they also needed to breathe a bit of belief into this squad that they can do something against Celtic over the next 7 days. Celtic Park in the league on Wednesday night, and then next Saturday lunchtime here, a Scottish Cup quarter-final, an absolute blockbuster of a game. And Robbie Neilson, I don't think could countenance getting to next Saturday night with Hibs only 2 points off them and also out the Scottish Cup. This is a huge week. This is the biggest week of Hearts' season by a distance.
Well, let's hear from him then, Robbie Neilson.
Yeah, I expect, always a tough game. The last couple of games against them have been very close, 3-2 up there. And I know Callum very well. I think they've tried to change their style a wee bit, a bit more possession-based, football-based. So I think coming to Tynecastle, they'll try and pass the ball, and it's a game that, the two teams that are trying to play.
It's probably about performance levels for me. I think, we've had two really close games against Hearts. I think both games end up 3-2 to them. Some good performances against them. We need to make sure we stop the threats. I probably didn't do that well enough in the last game, and obviously conceded a penalty pretty early doors. I think it was one of those dubious penalty decisions. I think it's really important we go there. We're really hard to play against, make it difficult as we can for them. Try and use our support. I think we've sold our allocation already, so try and use our support and make it frustrating for them and try and get a result.
Saturday afternoon football, you can't beat it. 4 big games in the Scottish Premiership, one later on as well, and one tomorrow, but we'll get to them in due course. The 3 o'clock games are next, and we go back to Ibrox after these.
The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
What a week it's been on Clyde One Super Scoreboard. So many points made, so many questions asked in the aftermath of last weekend's League Cup final. Well, we're about to start finding out the answers. What will the Rangers' reaction be like? What will the crowd be like? What will Michael Beale's part in it all be like? Andrew McLean is about to find out.
Yeah, I did wonder if there was going to be any sort of pre-match protest at all from Rangers supporters, because there has been a lot of criticism towards many facets of Rangers as a club in the last week. There is a couple of small banners. They're exactly the same, and they're a black background. It's got Stuart Robertson's face on it, it's got Ross Wilson's face on it, a red circle round each of them, and a cross through it as well. So supporters, some sections of supporters at least, making their feelings towards the sporting director and the managing director known ahead of this game so far. It is easy to forget because of the last week. Michael Beale's record since he came in is good. 13 wins from 15. He's won every single game outside of that draw against Celtic and the loss to Celtic last weekend in the League Cup final. But that is just the rivalry in this city, isn't it? When you're lagging behind your rivals, the problems are then focused on by supporters. They want answers, they want solutions, and they don't want excuses. And I think that's part of the problem with Michael Beale's comments during the week about budgets, because whether it's true or whether it's not, it does sound like a bit of an excuse and not a solution. So that's maybe what they've sort of honed in on, and there are other gaps for Michael Beale to focus on as Rangers manager when you're being judged using Celtic as a barometer. You look at Celtic, are they playing attacking, flowing, attractive football? Yes, they are. Are Rangers at the moment? No, they're not. You look at recruitment, are Celtic spending their money wisely, whether it's more or less money than Rangers? Yes, they are. Are Rangers at the moment? They're not. And the most important one is winning trophies. Are Celtic winning trophies at the moment? They are, and Rangers aren't. So these are the big things that the Rangers fans will be focusing on, and that's why there has been a lot of criticism towards the club this week. But the talking needs to be done on the pitch today. Anything less than 3 points is unthinkable after last week, and especially with Kilmarnock's awful away record, just 2 points from a possible 42 this season. I'll give you a recap of the teams, the starting lineups, as the players shake hands out on the pitch at the moment. For Rangers, Alan McGregor in goal. The back four, James Tavernier, Connor Golton, Ben Davies and Borna Barisic. The two holding midfielders, Nicholas Raskin and Ryan Jack. Fashion Sakala, Todd Cantwell and Ryan Kent in behind Antonio Cholak. John Stutter back on the bench, back in the Rangers squad for the first time since the opening day of the season. For Kilmarnock, Sam Walker in goal. The back five, Ryan Alabiosu, Ash Taylor, Joe Wright, Jarrell Dorset and Luke Chambers. The midfield four, Danny Armstrong, Alan Power, Liam Polworth and Rory McKenzie. Up front, for Kilmarnock, Christian Deutsch. The referee is Willie Collum. The VAR is David Monroe. And as the Rangers players took to the pitch, there was a good ovation from the home crowd here. They are certainly behind their team today, although I can see to the left of me there is a banner that is going to go up in the Union Bears section of the Rangers support. However, it hasn't been raised at the moment. Ryan Kent is standing over the ball waiting to see if that banner will be raised before kick-off here at Ibrox. We are running slightly late because I think it is about 1 or 2 minutes past 3 o'clock. Willie Collum just checking his watch and everything is ready to go, but I will let you know what that banner is. We are underway at Ibrox.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Buy now, pay nothing till 2024.
Come on then, you hopeless duds, give me your match ACCA this afternoon.
There are no circumstances imaginable which would come up with a Kilmarnock win at Ibrox. They are on the road, irredeemably, undeniably hopeless.
Did you hear about his forfeit?
What's that?
If Kilmarnock win, he's to go and wash Derek McInnes's car, apparently.
But there is absolutely no danger.
Derek know this?
No, he doesn't, but he will.
There's always a clipe. Someone will have told him last night after the programme Anyway, they're done for at Ibrox. Hearts narrowly to get past St Johnstone. Ross County Motherwell a draw. Livy and Hibs, surely in honour of the late Ron Gordon, the Hibs players will find it within themselves to get an away win, and at 6 o'clock Aberdeen will beat Dundee United.
I'm going for Rangers home win, Hearts home win, Ross County home win, draw between Livy and Hibs, and a draw in Jim Goodwin's first outing as Dundee United manager.
Rangers home win, Hearts St Johnstone. I'm going for a draw. Yeah, because I think Hearts aren't playing at their best just now. Ross County Motherwell, draw. I think Livingston will beat Hibs at home, and I'm going for Aberdeen and Dundee United draw.
Interesting. Well, we'll watch to see who gets the closest. None of you tend to get that close. The Hibs fans, they've had it, well, the Livy fans as well, a minute's silence after the sad passing of Ron Gordon. And in the Championship as well, Hugh, we're underway there. 4 fantastic games. Ayr Inverness, Cove Dundee, Partick Wraith Rovers, and Queen's Park Morton. A big game because Queen's Park are at the top. Also a minute's applause for the late Alan McGraw, who passed away this week as well.
Knew Alan well over the years, loved his company, the most civil of men, great player in his day, old enough to remember him playing for Morton and breaking all sorts of goal scoring records. I think he was the top goal scorer, followed by Andy Ritchie, followed by Rowan Alexander. He was a thorough gentleman, and I shall miss him.
So we'll see what result we get in that one. Partick Wraith as well, as I mentioned, big one for us here. And in fact, every game in the Championship's really big at the moment. There's been a bright start by Ross County. Brophy's had a shot blocked, then Harmon had a shot saved by Kelly. The Hibs fans chucked a flare on the pitch after the minute's silence, so that was a bit of a delay that started now, and nothing much to tell you about elsewhere, which gives us the perfect opportunity. Hugh Keevins.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since 2016, 7 players have signed for Celtic or Rangers during the January transfer window and have gone on to score at least 5 league goals. Now, this includes players on loan. Since 2016, 7 players have signed for Celtic or Rangers during the January window, and they've gone on to score at least 5 league goals. Name them.
I like it. At Clyde SSB, get your answers in and get them in quicker than everyone else. That's the aim of the game. So at Clyde SSB, have a think, and if you head over to that Twitter feed, you can also see the question written down if that was too much information for you to take in. I don't tell you every goal that's scored down south because frankly we've got enough on our plate, but I just thought you might be interested. League leaders Arsenal conceded at home to Bournemouth after 27 seconds, so that was certainly a lively start
It's what you would usually label unprofessional, would you not, Hugh?
Oh yeah. It is.
Tell those Arsenal players on 150 grand a week.
37 seconds after you start the game, you're a goal down. Is
it different to conceding at any other time?
Yeah.
That's the bit I just don't
No,
get.
that's
the game lasts 90
unacceptably
minutes.
early. I do understand that. And when teams score in the 90th minute, I always say
unprofessional.
No, I always say that's resilience. But if you lose a goal in 37 seconds, you're sitting dreaming about where you're going tonight.
But what difference does it make? Because if you can produce a moment of magic in the 45th minute, you can produce it in the first. If you can be guilty of a mistake in the 67th minute, you can be guilty of it in the first.
Bournemouth. I mean, some wee team from a seaside town.
Yeah, that's unprofessional.
There's a blast.
They have
from
candy floss in their bags and rocks and all that.
There's a blast from the past. Janino Bacuna, remember him? He scored for Birmingham. Goals going in down the divisions. Jim Duffy won't be happy. Montrose 1, Clyde 0. Annan 1, Stenhousemuir 0. Stirling Albion are 1 up as well, as the top of League 2 heats up. Let's see, what was this banner that the Rangers fans have held up today, and it's aimed at the board. After 55 titles, you took your eye off the ball. Time for change, it says. So that one's got nothing to do with Michael Beale.
Well, when fans say time for change, can you define what you mean? Because do you want Douglas Park to give up his interest in the club, and others who have put money into a club that doesn't have a proper business philosophy yet?
Well, we'll get back to that.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Exactly what Rangers needed, exactly what Michael Beale needed. Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 0, and it's Connor Goldson. 2 shots from Cantwell blocked after the corner. Cholak then had a shot saved, and Connor Goldson scored exactly what the doctor ordered. Hugh.
There will be no bucket of water. There will be no chamois. There will be no Derek McInnes's car. I told you, irredeemably, undeniably hopeless on the road, and that is the start that Michael Beale needs. You're absolutely correct. It's also the worst start possible for Derek McInnes, because it could now get very ugly for him.
Yeah, even for the players, never mind Michael Beale. Coming off the back of Sunday, it's sometimes difficult when, of course, expectation is great on your shoulders, and sometimes you feel that people are just waiting for you to slip up. So getting an early goal just settles the nerves, just lets you enjoy your day a bit more, and Connor Goldson tucks it away there, and good start for Rangers.
Yeah, it's not the start there McInnes was obviously looking for. They had a game plan to try and frustrate Rangers, but 5-6 minutes on the clock, 1 up. If they get another quick goal, it certainly could be a long day for Kelly.
It's very simple for Rangers today. I mean, the manager has taken all manner of abuse since losing the cup final to Celtic, but today he will now go 6 points behind Celtic in the league, and although Celtic look formidable, you have to put them under some kind of pressure. And at Paisley tomorrow, now they know that they'll go into that game with a 6 point lead, not a 9 point lead, and it's up to them.
And the thing, Mark, when you can be really doing with an early goal like that, sometimes get bodies in the area, the set piece works out. Like, it didn't need to be beautifully crafted. Rangers haven't had to cut Kilmarnock open, because as we heard from Derek McInnes, when you're killing, you're trying to get something to hang on to, and now you don't after 6 minutes. It was just the ball bobbling around, Rangers a few shots blocked, but they had the right amount of bodies in the right areas, and Connor Goldson sweeps it home.
Yeah, the set piece initially worked well, but they get a bit fortuitous when there's a couple of blocks here and it falls in the right place. But Goldson's there to put it away, and that's the important thing. You need to get bodies in the box. So you're right, Kilmarnock, what is the game plan now? Now, we always have this argument. You lose a goal, does your game plan change? No, we'll just keep ticking along and keep in the game as long as possible. That just makes the Rangers players relax a bit more. They'll find it a bit easier playing 1 up after 5 minutes.
There's a reason why you're second bottom and have a goal difference of minus 26. It's because you're rotten.
Constructive.
Yeah. Thanks.
I'm sure
for
Derek
the
is
insight.
delighted to hear that insight.
It's all about budgets, remember. No chance of Kelly going there and getting anything.
Yeah, I like
He's
that.
5-0, 4 for 1. Finn Robson, 10 minutes gone. Annan 1, Stenny 1. That Wedderburn equalising after 6 minutes. What a start to that game. So that banner we spoke about after 55 titles, you took your eye off the ball, time for change. A round of applause from the home support when that was unveiled.
But so what do they want? They want a takeover of the club?
No, but you can. It's not. You can change. You can change your chief exec. You can change your sporting director. Stuart Robertson and Ross Wilson. They're not employed at Ibrox for life. They can be replaced if you think those can be improved.
So has the mood switched now away from players and from the manager to the sporting director and the managing director?
I think Rangers recruitment's always been under question since.
Yeah,
that's what that's all about.
Don't
isn't
deny
it?
that. I think that 55 for Rangers, it became an obsession. It became like 10 in a row for Celtic, and people overlook the fact that Stephen Gerrard, Gary McAllister and Michael Beale got that title win, but for the rest of the time that they were at Ibrox they were unsuccessful. So this whole 55 business has intoxicated people, and fans as well have taken their eye off the ball.
I've never smashed in all my time here.
Hugh Keevins just banging the window to get the producer's attention. Quite something. Christian Doig just playing with a face mask, by the way. It's a broken nose. He had it lodged back into place on the pitch and played on last week.
Wow, that was like an action movie.
That's
there.
not great, is it?
You see, I've had that before. Had that in training.
Have you?
Nose put right out, bones sticking out. Had to go straight to the hospital. Surgery.
That's what I'm saying. He got
nose
lodged
job
back into place and played
mine
on.
was too bad.
I'll tell you what, it's not done you any good, is it?
You should have seen it before this.
Look at the big lump in his nose there. I've never noticed that before.
Listen to this guy talking about noses.
Size of that pupil.
How did that happen?
It was a guy called Alan Smart. Remember the striker? Alan Smart played for Watford and things like that. Well, he was on loan to us and went up for a header in training. I used to jump unprotected, arms by my side, and that was a lesson I learned that day. I just used to jump like this.
Like a salmon?
Like a salmon.
Why?
And Alan got
He
across
wasn't
me,
very
elbowed
good,
me.
Gordon.
Your technique is about to get a reprieve because we've got one of these
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Livingston 1, Hibs 0, and it's Joel Nouble with the goal. Of course, spent a lot of time out injured. Back in amongst it and back in amongst the goals. Livy lead Hibs by a goal to nil. Great feet, as the cliche goes. Good feet for a big man. Off the underside of the bar, which always gets you extra aesthetic points. Hugh Keevins.
Yeah, he's a very good player for David Martindale and for Livy. Sometimes the emotion can be too much for players to handle. When it's been all about the late chairman and owner, the emotion can inspire or it can deflate, and the early start that Hibs have made suggests on the face of it could have deflated them.
Handball shout in the Rangers game. A Raskin shot from the edge of the box. The ball has since gone out, so presumably nothing in it in terms of an extensive VAR check. But Livy are one in front, and that stands as far as I can gather.
I told you I fancied Livy strongly today. I know it's still early, but
10 minutes in, we know.
Yeah, but they're winning. So far my prediction is spot on.
That's it, Daz. There was no time for reflection.
Exactly, Hugh.
Yeah.
Roger Hanna's man Dipo Akinyemi has scored to put Ayr 1 up against Inverness after 12 minutes.
You've got to think somebody will look at this guy for a higher league.
I'm thinking about it even January, but
was there not a bid for him in January? Did they not back?
Inverness having a tough time of it as well, aren't they?
Yeah.
I noticed players in the paper this morning saying lay off the gaffer or words to that effect. Billy Dodd's been getting a bit of stick.
Is he under a little bit of pressure, Billy? Is he?
What, the 7th or something going into
Well,
the
the
game
club
today?
in general is under a lot of pressure because their financial figures were released during the week and they are deeply worrying. So Inverness Cali Thistle in a bit of bother on and off the park.
Burton bid 250k for Dipo Akinyemi. Mark, there is your answer.
Yeah. That was big money.
And they refused it
to turn down. Yeah.
Ayr United refused 250,000.
That showed the ambition at the time, that they genuinely thought that they could get out of this league and they're better off with them. So it's a brave decision at the time. If it backfires, of course you look foolish and then your finances may not add up, but I like that. Good management, brave management for their manager. Not seen that. No.
All right, okay. I know where you're going with this one.
What? Just make the point.
I sold all my top players for big money. I made that club a fortune. To be fair, I took a fortune out of it, but I made them a fortune.
So Rangers 1 up then. The exact start that Rangers Michael Beale needed. Certainly Connor Goldson with the goal, a close range finish. There was I don't even think it was much more than a half-hearted shout for a handball. That's not come to anything. We've got Livy 1 up against Hibs. We've got Ross County pressing more than Motherwell, and Hearts are kind of struggling to get going against St Johnstone, who are doing well early on there as well.
Yeah, I'm looking to see Ross County Motherwell. I think Fraser's got a good game there. Bit disappointed Fraser's up in the Highlands, just in case we needed a 40 taken. But I think he'll get plenty of goals. I really do.
What do you mean by that?
Oh, last week it was brilliant. We're all celebs sitting there, and the boy comes up and says to Fraser, didn't even know him, listen mate, take a 40.
Can you imagine the delight on Gordon Dale's face when Fraser had to take a picture of him and a pub goer?
He's going, I played with Motherwell and St Mirren Rangers, mate. I played with
I did.
I was a long throw-in specialist.
How did you recover after last week? I recalled this on the show the other night. You standing with your suit on and a glass of red in hand in the Record Factory in Byers Road underneath the speaker that was blaring out Killing in the Name of. That stayed with me all week.
I thought there had been an electrical fault. I thought that something was going to fall down, and then I realised it was a form of music. And I went back home. I went back home on the train, and I into the house, and my youngest daughter, who's down visiting from Dundee, said, "Where have you been?" And I said, "The Record Factory." And she just burst out laughing.
You should have seen his face. I was standing next to him.
I'm not a fan of Rage Against the Machine.
No.
So in the record collection it goes Van Morrison, Tony Bennett,
Leonard Cohen,
Jodie Mitchell. Not no Rage Against the Machine in there. No,
and there never will be.
Maybe next time.
I thought it was an electrical fault.
I heard you were a big hit though, Hugh.
Yeah, he wasn't long enough for the record to finish. He says I thought he was at a funeral. He went, I'm just here to pay my respects.
It was a leaving night. He was telling everybody he was paying his respects.
I'm paying my respects.
I like that, Hugh. A bit of respect, huh?
Yes, yeah.
No, it was a World Book Day this week, and we got you two to do a dramatic reading of the Gruffalo. Do you think we should get Hugh to do a dramatic reading of the lyrics to Killing in the Name of?
Oh no.
I think we should arrange that, producer Chris. Get them printed pronto, and we'll sort that out.
Are the lyrics questionable?
I think in places, yes.
I have to say I listened to you two, and Gordon Duncan will confirm this is the expression I used.
He did.
I found it, in your case, Gordon, particularly disturbing.
What? Mr. Fox.
Yes, that's it. That's it. And I want to
come to my house.
Yes,
a lot of feedback is highlighting your role.
That's where that
is
questionable. I put my heart and soul into that. Let me tell you.
That's when the phrase entered my mind. Particularly disturbing.
Anyway, I'm going to get those lyrics for you. This is a must. I'm not sure you had the chance to soak in what you were experiencing last week. The Seagulls are winning, if that cheers you up. Alexis McAllister, the man who might be Argentinian but looks Scottish. Sakala has had a couple of good chances. Good save from the first one, actually. Then Kent with a good low cross. Sakala slides in, a few yards out, somehow turned it round the post.
Well, he owes Rangers a performance. All of what he had to say prior to the cup final backfired on him. He had a gilt-edged chance, I thought, to score at Hampden against Celtic, and he made a mess of that as well. So, to a certain extent, with the exception of Cantwell and Raskin, they're all in the business of redemption today, because they didn't do the job that Rangers wanted them to do, and none more so than Sakala.
Big miss, that one, Gordon.
That to me is a sitter. Ryan Kent, who has to prove to Rangers supporters he can do it constantly. That's a fantastic. You got to score that. That's a sitter. That is substitute. I would substitute him for that. Honestly, terrible. You've got to put that in the back end.
You remind us of your teaser, please. We'll maybe do some wrong ones.
Since 2016, 7 players have signed for Celtic or Rangers during the January window, and have gone on to score at least 5 league goals. Now, this list will include players who joined Celtic or Rangers on loan. So 7 players who have signed for Celtic or Rangers during the January window since 2016 and have gone on to score at least 5 league goals. Who are they?
Okay, let's do some wrong ones. Scully thinks Matt O'Reilly.
No, he's not there.
He's only got 4 league goals, would you believe? I thought he would have had more than that as well.
He's only got 1 this season, which can
he's only got
slowed him
4
up.
Overall, he's only got 4
for Celtic. Yeah,
has he?
Yeah.
Surprising.
Odson Edward.
Get him off the list.
You've not got the one I told you on the list.
Why was Odson Edward not on there again? He was signed. He was signed permanently in August, but he did
was
come
on
in
loan,
the
wasn't
January
he?
before that.
Yeah. Am I putting him back in?
No, he's not on the list.
No.
Forget him.
This is why I banged on his window. I need to keep him awake.
Armstrong and Mackay-Steven.
Oh, he had a nightmare the other night and beat the Pundit.
Too long ago for Armstrong and Mackay-Steven.
Yes,
Okay, we'll rule them out as well. Keep guessing the WAC Clyde SSB. Big goal in the Championship. Queen's Park 1, Morton 0. Tom Robson 19 minutes gone, and the league leaders strike first.
Well,
yeah. Well, again, I'll keep going back to Queen's Park, that you expect them with the finances and what's went into the club, but it's one thing saying it and another thing doing it.
I don't really get. They were 50 to 1 to win the Championship.
Really?
Yeah, they don't.
I wish I would have put money on that.
Look, there's an infrastructure there, and there's a plan, but they're not financially blowing other Championship teams out the water.
No, they're not blowing them away, but they're well up there.
But they'll be a good bit below Dundee.
Oh, Dundee, maybe, yeah. But
and possibly
they
some
should
others.
be competing up at the top of the
50
league.
to 1 to win the
50
league.
to 1 is an outstanding bet.
For reason, though.
Yeah, well,
favourites to go down, I think.
Well, that was just foolish. With some of the signings that they're able to make.
Who?
Queen's Park, favourites to go down.
I think they were. Well, they're 50 to 1 to win it, so they must have been close to.
Well, that's
favourites to go
remarkable.
down.
If I known that at the start, I would have put
You're the
£2 on it.
The worst gambler ever.
£2 on it.
Please gamble
But the
responsibly.
infrastructure, the manager alone, been able to tempt Owen Coyle.
Here we go. Got one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Needed this. It's Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0. Josh Ginnelly back in the team. A deflected shot. St Johnstone going mad. They thought Shankland fouled Montgomery in the build-up. Of course, depending on when the attacking phase of play started, that can be looked at. They're all surrounding the referee. So if that was sort of directly as part of that Hearts attack, then it can be looked at. So we'll keep an eye on that one. If it does stand, as we said, Hearts really needed that, didn't they?
Yeah, they've been struggling lately, Gordon. I'm sure that they've been disappointed with some of their performances as well. But sitting in third, and the pack has started to close. Hibs were in good form. St Mirren obviously playing tomorrow as well. So if Hearts could get 3 points and Hibs losing just now, you'd imagine Celtic would beat St Mirren tomorrow. Gives them that bit of breathing space, bit of that gap to get further away and cement third place.
Big goal, Hugh, if it stands.
Yeah.
Oh, however.
Hold on.
However.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Having a wee look to see if that goal. Well, like every goal does get checked anyway, and it stands. There we are. The goal flash. I've pressed it once, so that'll do. But it stands. Goal stands.
Well, that's just as well, because Robbie Nielsen, truly the greeting face of the Premiership, who dislikes VAR very much, so he will be happy to see that. And Hearts, as you pointed out earlier, Gordon, could do with a little uplift because the form's dipped.
Jan Danders had a shot saved by Liam Kelly's legs. County looking the more likely to score, but still goalless there. Albion Rovers have equalised against Stirling Albion. Charlie Riley is having a wonderful season for them, and he has scored the equaliser there. So game on in that one. Ewan Henderson had a shot over the bar a little while ago for Hibs. Should have hit the target. They trail Livy by a 1-0.
Well, a little surprised by Ibrox, quarter of the game gone, 1-0. Connor Goldson getting that. I don't know, we'll hear from Andrew McLean at half time if the overall display has been enough to placate the Rangers fans, who at the moment are gunning for the sporting director and the managing director, and that we've been gunning for players if the result and performance are not to their liking either.
They've certainly created more chances, Scott, haven't they?
This game should be out of
there's
sight
nothing
already.
wrong on the pitch so far.
Yeah, the 23-24 minutes, it should be out of sight already. I was highlighting the fact Sakala, he'll not get an easier chance in the rest of the season. You should put that in the back of the net. It was a terrific ball from Kent. They've had most of the play, they're creating chances. It's just a matter of time when the goals will come, because Rangers will score more goals this afternoon against a poor Kilmarnock side.
At 1-0 so far, about quarter of the way through the game. In fact, what else is happening here? Have we got another update? Yes, we do, at Ibrox.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's been coming for Rangers and for Fashion Sakala. A layoff from Antonio Cholak in the box. Maybe took a deflection, a small nick off someone on the way towards goal, but it's in the back of the net, and that's all that matters for Michael Beale and Rangers. They're cruising at home to Kilmarnock. Rangers 2, Kilmarnock 0.
Could get ugly, as I said. It depends. Well, the Rangers fans can't take their foot. The Rangers players rather can't take their foot off the pedal, because they are in the business of pleasing the fans today and getting them off their back after what happened at Hampden on Sunday.
This could be a sore one this afternoon for Kilmarnock. They've offered nothing. Rangers are totally dominating the game, and Rangers will get more goals. I said 2 seconds before Sakala side foot into the back of the net that Rangers were certainly not finishing the goals. So more to come, I think, unless Derek McInnes can pull something out of the hat here. But I don't know what.
I know exactly that there is nothing he can pull out of the hat, because he's got nothing, and that's why there's a real danger that they'll either go down automatically or they'll be the one in the playoff.
And they would have known, Mark, those Rangers players would have known fine well that if they didn't, forget winning the game, if they didn't start quickly, the Rangers fans would probably have got a bit restless. So to come out and do that and deliver, that's been important, hasn't it?
Oh, of course, always has. Score early, add to it, make the game as easy as possible for you on a day like today, where it was going to be difficult, it was going to be a tough place to play after what happens. It always is after you lose a cup final to your rivals. So they've went a bit the right way. Daz is right, it's 2. It could have been already, it could have been 4. Sakalis had a hat-trick of chances.
What's worrying for Kilmarnock supporters and Derek McInnes is they look all over the place at the back. They're just going to concede more goals. Sakala had the full 18-yard box to sell just to pick a side foot and put it in the back in it.
Yes, long afternoon ahead then for Kilmarnock, if it's not already. Rangers 2, Kilmarnock 0. Fashion Sakala adding to Connor Goldson's opener. So we're well up and running in that one. Hibs are offering very little, which will disappoint Lee Johnson. Hearts, the goal has really given them fresh impetus, because they are all over St Johnstone now as well. Matthews has had to tip over from Lawrence Shankland, and the only game I should say without a goal is Fraser Wishart's game in Dingwall, but he suspects it may be coming for the home side.
Yeah, worrying if you're in the Motherwell camp, which we are. They've had some good results, 7 points out of 9 since Kettlewell took over. It was always got to be a difficult game up there. The first goal's got to be so important at Dingwall. Obviously listening to Fraser, Ross County are probably on top just now, but if Mark can talk us into another magnificent free kick like last week at Kilmarnock.
By the way, it was the same last week against Killie. Motherwell were backs against the wall for a lot the first half, and they came out second half a different side. I think that formation certainly suiting you and making you more resilient.
Well, Fraser's happy though. Good game, he says. It's been a good game, no complaints at all. Lovely day for a drive up the A9 as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
You love the scenery, Mark Wilson.
You
are a liar. You would hate to go up under any circumstances.
No, I wouldn't be going there. I'll never go to Dingwall again.
But it's a lovely drive in this type of weather, isn't it?
Yeah. This weather,
too fun, mate.
Get the window down, music on.
Get the window down.
Arms
still
the
quite
window.
cold for what it's worth.
The roof off. Get the sunroof off.
See, you want the teams outside of the Glasgow city boundary to be relegated, and you want Queen's Park and Partick Thistle to come up. That's the right way of doing things.
Nonsense. Whoever deserves it, we need to live by those.
You must have loved a good away trip, Hugh, when you were in the newspapers and everything was paid
certainly
for.
went have the window down, doesn't it, drive?
I did Ross County versus Dundee United Scottish Cup replay. It went to extra time and penalties
midweek.
So, yeah.
Time did you go home?
No, I didn't. I'd stayed in a hotel.
It
Lovely
was
hotel.
expense claim looking on the
yes.
Monday morning.
Oh, handsome.
Shamal George not had anything to do. Header over the bar from Josh Campbell, well over. There was a bit of drama at Tynecastle. Kai Rolls, a last man challenge, if you like, bringing down McLennan, but the Saints player was offside, and then they went to VAR to check it, and all is well. John Robertson, a familiar goal scoring name in Edinburgh, but this one for FC Edinburgh. He's opened the scoring against Kelty away. Ayr are down to
10 men.
To 10 men. Oh, hold on. Actually, we've got one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
I said that Livy goalie had nothing to do, and it's level. Eli Yuan has scored. Livy, however, are claiming offside, so I'm sure we'll find out very soon. Ball over the top, good finish. He has been a good signing, Mark.
Yeah.
For all the negativity and all the drama that's gone with some of Hibs recruits, he has been very good.
He has been. I remember watching him against Rangers at Easter Road. You know, he played off the wide area, and we didn't see a lot from him. We saw wee glimpses of him that day, but after that, in terms of goal scoring contribution, yeah, very, very good, dangerous player. Fancied that one for a draw today. Daz went early. Thought Livy had that tied up.
Maybe VR will help me out here, but
maybe. But you got to look where Hibs are. If Hibs have any real ambition, which of course they do, a catch in Hearts, then these are the games that you need to win.
Goal stands: Livy 1, Hibs 1. Eli Yuan with the goal there, the equaliser. Queen's Park have gone 2 up. Home to Morton.
Bad day for Morton.
Oakley with
all
the goal
round
on 30 minutes.
Hear about the rules? Yep. No
What
Morton,
happened?
no Morton's rules anymore.
Oh, no.
What?
Hear
That, by the way.
I know. I was devastated
What's
at that. Ceased trading.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the big
You got
news.
to
Have you
listen
not
to the
seen it?
news.
oh, I'm about
All
stoned.
you do is watch Netflix and play golf,
But
and
he did
whatever
come in.
else
He
you
did
get up
come
to.
in very tight, so he wasn't listening to the news today. He did very tight to the start time.
research what's happening in the.
Well,
in the
I
world.
certainly didn't research Morton Rolls.
Oh, you've always got to. Saturday morning,
It's a
especially.
big talking
That's-
point. Yeah,
Was
huge
it?
in this part of the world.
I'm a bit disappointed. It's been a poor day for me today.
Obika's had a shot just over from 12 yards out as Motherwell try and offer something.
Of course, we eat croissant in my house, not rolls.
You eat tins of cold beans before you come and do this
That's
show.
correct,
You're fooling
yes.
nobody.
Oh, need to stay off them.
Where are the lyrics to Hugh Keevins' song? I thought we were getting them. Producer Michael's bringing them, apparently.
Is he? Okay.
I don't know where from. They're taking their
This will be
time.
one for the ages, Hugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
You spitting out lyrics here.
quick check on the teaser, Hugh. Do some more wrong ones.
This is difficult.
Okay.
Struggling today.
Since 2016, 7 players have signed for Celtic or Rangers during the January window and have gone on to score at least 5 league goals. This list includes loan players. 7 players since 2016 have signed for Celtic and Rangers during the January window and have gone on to score at least 5 goals. Name them.
Alan Hollandsworth thinks Timothy Weah might be one.
No.
Didn't get enough goals
No,
actually in
no.
the league. We've got Cartoon Cammy wants to go for Stephen Davis.
No. Not since 2016. Well, he came back to
came
Rangers,
back,
right?
didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, why is Stephen Davis not on the list, I wonder?
When did he come back? 2000.
I'll tell you what I'll do next week's teaser. He's hopeless.
It'll be wrong.
He's
Who you blaming?
Josh Windass.
Chris.
Is he on the list?
No, he's not.
No, okay.
He
Joined
doesn't
in
know the
July.
first thing about it. There's no idea. Let's stay this
Stephen
guy.
Davis probably won't have.
Let's stay him.
Chris, defend yourself.
Steve Davis probably won't have more than 5 league goals since he came back, does he? Steve Davis. He's only got 1. There
He's
you
not
go.
even listening.
Take it back.
He did come in looking a bit unsure of himself
I
there,
know.
didn't he, Chris?
So there we go.
Well done, Chris. I had faith in you. This guy's never got faith in you, though.
Have we got any correct answers on the teaser yet? No.
What
we need
teaser?
to, hold on. We need to get going then. Read the
Even he
question.
hasn't
No,
got
read
the
the
correct
question again.
answers.
Then we need to get some on the podium. Hugh, give us the question once more.
Okay, since 2016, 7 players have signed for Celtic or Rangers during the January window and have gone on to score at least 5 league goals. Who are they?
We really need to get more here. So you've got 2 Celtic players that are still at the club. You've got 3 Rangers players that are still at the club.
Whoa.
1 former Rangers player, 1 former Celtic player. Okay. I've not got any on the podium.
That shows how difficult it is.
We've got a good. We're having a good go.
Well done. Good question, Chris. I like that.
Oh, what about him?
Cholak shot over the bar now for Rangers. Hugh, have you got your lyrics? You ready? This is what you were up against.
This is even worse than the music. Killing in the name of. Killing in the name of. Now they do what they told ya. Now they do what they told ya. Now they do what they told ya. Now they do what they told ya.
That'll do. I can't handle any more of that. This show has plunged to new depths.
Repetitive, but very well delivered.
I particularly liked the way he was getting into the character on it.
Pauses and
see, I almost spilled my red wine last Saturday night. I mean, I'm throwing people out of the house for less.
That was blaring out above your head while you're standing there with a glass of red.
As I say,
I wish you got footage of that.
I told you Charlie Riley's having a good season. Stirling Albion 1, Albion Rovers 2 now. So the visitors have gone in front there. Marvin Bartley's Queen of the South have gone a goal up against Airdrie, Ewan East. Is that because you went down and watched them training this week? Did you give them some tips?
I didn't go.
Oh, I thought you were all set.
No, I was all set, but then something came up and I couldn't go.
What came up?
I had to go and get my granddaughter.
That sounds like the first lie that you would go. If I was you, no, I'm just saying, like,
no, it wasn't a lie. It was the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
All I'm saying is, if I was you and I was going to tell a lie, that's the one I would pick. So
it's a good one.
I'm not saying it 100% is or not.
That is your go-to lie.
Because
that's
it's
just
one
the way
that
you
people
delivered
don't
it.
argue with.
Oh no! I've lost so many people in my family tree. That's most of my life. When I don't want to go,
death in the family.
All the aunties and the
grannies did again.
I've had 5 grannies.
But that would be a bit.
I've buried 5 grannies last year.
But that would be a bit extreme to sort of, you don't have to make up a family funeral to not go and watch Marvin Bartley training. But are you going to go this week?
Yes,
because they'd be 3 up if you had given them some tips.
I was
this week.
going to go over and watch. I just unfortunately I couldn't make it yesterday. I was a bit sad.
Do you not need to ask permission?
Why?
From Marvin?
He's open park. You can go. I've sat and watched Motherwell train.
It'd just be professional courtesy though, on the show and
maybe
you're friends with him.
Maybe get a wee bit nervous.
Turning up.
Me obviously.
It'd be embarrassing if someone asked for your photograph but asked Marvin to take it.
Exactly, Hugh. That is when you know you're not an A-lister.
Yeah.
When the guy hands you the phone and says, take a wee photo.
Right, no more goals to tell you about at the moment. That teaser's still going. No one on the podium yet, so we need to do a bit better on that. There is a few starting to get it now, I think, which is good. I've obviously given you the appropriate clues. Oh, do you know what's good? I want to mention this actually, because I'm obviously at that age now where everyone on Instagram or Facebook's got kids and they're starting to get into hobbies and whatnot, and Paul sent me a message to point out that all of the small-sided games were back for the kids today. I don't know if did you notice this? So the youngsters, your 4-a-sides or whatever it is, this is like the new season or the new round of games. They're all back and everyone's getting their new team kit on and getting out there with such enthusiasm. So why not wish everybody well that was out there.
Good
Imagine
luck.
taking their first steps in the beautiful game this morning. What a moment.
Grassroots, and the sun is shining.
I'm doing my bit tonight for grassroots. I'm going along.
So you are.
Cambus, Nathan Talbot's the name of the team.
Are you doing the prize giving?
I'm doing the prize giving.
Brilliant.
I cannot wait to
what
get
age
there.
group?
That's one I don't know.
Young though.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well,
really will not have heard of you.
oh, of course I'll have heard of me. I'm big time.
Are you going to do it?
Well,
Are you going to do it in your World Book Day voice?
I'm going. Certainly not. No. But no, I'm looking forward to that.
That is going to be the funniest
Are you
bit.
handing out the medals, are you?
Listen, I remember when I was a young kid playing in a boys' club, and a superstar would walk in and played. Now these guys,
Those little kids,
these
not knowing who he is, and just all in a
DJ
bunch together
Daz,
saying,
DJ
anybody
Daz.
know who this old guy
Papa.
is?
DJ Daz.
Is this clown gave us our medals?
Oh,
There's
dear.
one for whoever. Did anyone of note ever hand you out your medals when you were young?
I think Tommy Boyd
Right.
did it, aye, because he was a neighbour.
And what was
of
that,
us.
boys' club?
That was the school football
School?
team, aye.
Who gave you yours?
Joe Jordan.
That's
a
right.
good one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Joe Jordan. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Right, you can tweet me who
Did you?
gave who. I don't know if I ever won any. That maybe says more about me than you two. Who gave you your medals? Who turned up at your prize giving to give you your medals when you were a young boy or a young girl playing your youth football? Because Gordon Dalziel is doing it tonight. He's at the old prize giving ceremony. Do you know what? You don't even smile, so the chances of you.
I hope
you're going to need to pose for 100 pictures as all these kids come up.
I hope it's not the best boots award. Do you know what I mean? Your boots are really nice. Come on,
you said the other day participation.
No, that's an important one.
I seen my photo the other day, I think, and I was sporting a leather baseball cap back in the days. I don't know why
we need to see this picture.
Right,
hold on, we've got another one of these.
Flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Hibs have turned it around. It's Ewan again, and Hibs lead at Livy 2-1. Scott Tiffany's put Partick Thistle 1-up against Wraith. The permanent Chris Doolan era off to a positive start. But a big goal that for Hibs. A good time to turn it round as well.
The emotion, as I said, either inspires or deflates, and I feared it might have got to the Hibs players, but they're coming through for the late owner Ron Gordon, and that's what Lee Johnson wants to see. And he also wants, on a purely football front, a performance and the result for his team, because they've got Rangers going to Easter Road on Wednesday night, Hearts are going to Celtic Park, it's Glasgow versus Edinburgh. It's going to be sensational entertainment in the league, and he wants Hibs to look the part and play the part against Rangers, and you don't do that off the back of a defeat at Livy.
Andrew McLean says Alex McLeish turned up to his prize giving when he was young. A very good one as well.
Andrew doesn't look like a footballer, doesn't he? I bet he never won an award. I bet he was just there.
I don't know. I don't think that's the issue here. I don't really care. I'm just wanting to find out who turns up, because you're on the prize giving circuit tonight. So I want people to tweet me at Clyde SSB or just me at Gordon Duncan 7. I want your stories from when footballers turned up to hand out your awards and you had never heard of them.
You ever do that?
Oh, aye.
Do you charge?
Sean White says Neil Lennon and David Marshall turned up at his. They both couldn't look less interested, he said. Well, I'll tell you what, Sean, get yourself down to Club 100 in Motherwell this evening. If you want to see someone look disinterested, I've got just the man.
I don't even know
what
I'm going to wear.
Suit, obviously.
You need to wear a suit.
Yes, you do.
Your big baggy suit that you used to wear for air.
2023. You don't go with a suit on.
I think you do.
I know what he's going to dress.
I'm gone.
You're going to dress. Remember, you came to the night out with the old
no. On open shirt. You're the guest of honour. You, even if everyone else doesn't, you need to wear a suit.
Of course you will.
Trust me.
You're taking the mickey out of me.
Would I do that to you on live radio?
Yes, you would.
By 100%. When Tom Boyd presented mine, he had the smart trousers with a jacket on.
Former Celtic captain.
The days are gone.
It's just
not now.
Standards. Tom,
you're the guest of honour.
But you don't turn up with a suit on, do you?
A man of your vintage should. Hugh would.
I wore a suit to the record factory.
That's true. That's true.
You need a suit.
Big Andrew, incidentally.
I would leave the tie. I think you could get away with a tie.
I was going to just wear jeans and a top.
That's scruffy.
Andrew McLean, incidentally, almost spilled his drink all over himself when Rage Against the Machine came on, and I jumped out of my suit.
I get. Yeah, I mean,
you'll have to say a few words, won't you?
Oh, that's not a problem. I'll just tell them about my career.
You could go without the tie, but I think you need a suit. Shine your shoes, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Check your fingernails.
Yeah. Anyway, VAR check at Ibrox. Not entirely sure what for, I must say, yet. A possible handball, so potential Rangers penalty incoming.
VAR review with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
I think everyone agrees this game's beyond Kilmarnock anyway, but a third just before half time would really make things worse. Queen of the South now 2 up on Airdrie. Lewis Gibson on 43 minutes.
That's a good scoreline, not yet a result for Marvin Bartley.
And we do have a penalty to Rangers. Todd Cantwell was down receiving treatment as well. And Willie Collum has pointed to the spot after a VAR check, so presumably James Tavernier will have the chance to go and convert from the spot, as he often does. And Willie Collum had gone over to the monitor, saw something he didn't like, and points to the spot. I'm not sure, was it definitely
Handball? It wasn't handball.
Handball.
it's
I'm
a
not actually
handball.
100% sure. It seems a bit unclear. It seems a bit unclear. I don't think the screen in Ibrox apparently said handball, but I don't think it was. Anyway, there's a bit of mixed reports.
Can you figure out why it's been awarded at all?
Yeah, I think it's for. Oh, wow, no, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe there is a handball as a Kilmarnock player falls to the ground. Is it when it bounces up?
Yeah.
Bounces up initially, hits his.
That's not a penalty kick, is it?
Wow,
it's Willie Collum we're talking about here.
That's
confused looks all round. I'm not sure anyone shouts for that, do they?
No, nobody.
Shouldn't laugh.
Hold on. Cholak does. Cholak.
Oh, there you are then.
Yeah.
Right away.
There you are. Cholak's very clear. Not that you don't have to base your opinion on it on his reaction, but just so that we're accurate. I said no one had claimed they didn't see Cholak.
I find that very harsh, Mark. What's your
claims for it?
Opinion of that?
I think you can see it does hit his arm. It comes through Kent though.
In
his
the-
arm's out.
This
Yeah,
season,
his arm's kinda in front of him.
that's standard.
James Tavernier.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Rangers 3, Kilmarnock 0. It could have been one of those anxious, fraught, nervy days, impatient days for Rangers. It is anything but. 3-0 up heading into the break and absolutely cruising.
Yeah, I mean, it will depend, as always. They'll go in 3-0 at half time. It will depend, as always, on how keen they are. If they want it to be more, it will be more. If they get lackadaisical, it will finish 3-0.
I think there'll be more than 3 here, Hugh.
Yeah.
Kilmarnock have offered absolute nothing. They're all over the place. I think they'll suffer badly in the second half. Kilmarnock, they're just a team with no confidence at all.
Yeah, James Tavernier, fair bit of practice over the years in Rangers colours and has missed a couple. Missed one against Partick Thistle not too long ago, Mark, but by and large a very good strike rate.
Oh, it's reliable. People think it's easy, and people think it's easy. You think it's easy?
Yeah,
A penalty kick?
yeah, penalty kicks. Yeah,
I don't think it's as easy as everyone makes it. There's a lot goes into it. So
half-time Ibrox, Andrew McLean.
Rangers 3, Kilmarnock 0, the half-time score here. There's been a lot of unrest amongst the Rangers support this week following that loss to Celtic last weekend, but it has been very straightforward on the pitch today. It was a perfect start for them as well on what could have been a tense day. They worked a corner into the box before Cantwell. He had 2 shots blocked. Cholak had 1 saved. The ball eventually falling to Connor Golson to stroke home just 7 minutes into the match. Fashion Sakala scored the second, but before that he missed 2 good chances. The first was from Ben Davis's long ball over the top. Sakala took it down well but had a shot saved by Sam Walker. Then a real sitter after that one, a lovely low cross by Ryan Kent across the 6-yard box. Sakala was sliding in, somehow turned that one round the post though. He made no mistake, however. 25 minutes in, the ball fell kindly to Antonio Cholak in the box. He laid it off to Sakala and he side-footed that one into the back of the net. Rangers continued to create chances. Cholak firing over. Raskin had one blocked as well. They did get the chance to extend their lead just before half time from the spot. Willie Collum going to the screen for a potential handball. Bit of confusion in the ground really for what the exact incident was. However, when Willie Collum took a look at it, he pointed to the spot. It was James Tavernier to step up and take, and he scored. So the half time score here at Ibrox is Rangers 3, Kilmarnock 0.
Half time in Dingwall. Here's Fraser.
Ross County 0, Motherwell 0, no goals, but it's actually been a good game to watch, both in good recent form, and I think that's reflected by both playing with confidence and plenty of attacking football. County probably being the more likely to score. Eamon Brophy in particular looking very sharp, had a number of efforts at goal but foiled by Kelly. But Motherwell now but they've had a number of good chances themselves. Really bright start by County, taking the game to Motherwell early stages. Eamon Brophy shot was blocked in the 6-yard box by Casey and the ball fell to George Hammond, who hooked his right foot shot from 20 yards, saved well high to his right by Liam Kelly. Game swung to the other end. Beautiful left foot cross by Blair Spittle. He drove it into the back post, and John Obika, I don't think he was expecting the ball to reach him because he misheaded from about 6 yards. He really should have scored, but he tucked the ball wide, and Stuart Kettlewell had his head in his hands. I think he knew it was a great chance. Then there was a number of chances for County. A low Brophy shot from 20 yards through a forest of legs, almost sneaked in. A really good save by Liam Kelly, low to his left. Plenty going on the first 15-20 minutes. Brophy again testing Kelly, the diving header, comfortable save for the goalkeeper. Jack Baldwin with the next chance. Kelly this time missed a Dan and a corner for somehow Jack Baldwin couldn't head the ball on target and headed it actually away from goal rather than towards goal. Danda then saw his low shot from inside the box saved by Liam Kelly with his legs. Motherwell still had a threat though, a low Max Johnson cross. Obika got in front of Baldwin and shot just over the bar from 12 yards. Laidlaw beaten. Brophy again came close in 37 minutes to breaking the deadlock. A loose ball fell to the striker inside the box. His shot well saved again by Kelly, low at his feet, and it was scrambled away by Butcher before Jordan White could score. Then Motherwell a couple of chances just before the break. Kevin Van Veen scored a hat-trick here in October, saw his right foot shot saved by Laidlaw diving to his left, and Mac Johnson drove the rebound across the goal, but nobody could get a touch in the ball before Gwyan Edwards, the winger for Ross County, almost headed into his own net. A deep Johnson cross, and Edwards trying to clear it, almost headed into the top corner. Tight as we expected. Might just be the odd goal in this one up here at Dingwall. Half time, Ross County 0, Motherwell 0.
Half time at Tynecastle, Roger Hanna.
Half-time, Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0. Hearts have the lead through Josh Ginnelly's goal after 21 minutes, but it's been a really well contested game. St Johnstone have been in it all the way through and feel a real sense of injustice at the goal that separates the team. The Saints started brightly. Stevie May had a shot spilled by his former teammate Xander Clark after just 9 minutes. The Hearts defence managing to get the loose ball away. Hearts not really seen going forward too much in the opening quarter. But now Michael Smith having one shot saved by Remy Matthews after a smart passing move, and then the goal in 21 minutes. Josh Ginnelly's shot deflected off the heel of a Saints defender. Wrong-footed Matthews spun into the far corner, but there was fury among the Saints players. They thought Lawrence Shanklin had fouled Adam Montgomery in the build-up to the goal. Thought Lawrence Shanklin had fouled Adam Montgomery in the build-up to the goal. Saints players surrounding referee Stephen McLean. Callum Davidson furious on the touchline. There was a VAR check, and the VAR check confirmed the goal to put the Jambos up. It really gave them a kick on at that stage. Matthews having to tip over a fierce shot from Shanklin from George Grant's pass just 4 minutes later. Then a bizarre incident in 28 minutes. Conor McClellan running clear, taken down by Kai Rose. A last man challenge, but McLean had started in an offside position, so free kick to Hearts, and Rolls spared any type of card from referee McLean. Saints really still in the game. They could have equalised in 31 minutes. Stevie May making progress down the right, fired in a terrific ball into the 6-yard box. Dree Wright just looked ready to pull the trigger, but somehow the ball lifted off his toe and cleared for a corner. Matthews another save from Shanklin's header after 39 minutes, but it was the visitors from Perth who finished really strongly before half time. Clark making a fine stop, tipping over from Cammy McPherson in 43 minutes, and then just a moment later Melker Halbert timing his run into the box, a good header just over the bar. There might be life in this game yet, Gordon. Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0.
Good game at the Tony Macaroni Arena for David Friel.
Half time, Livingston 1, Hibs 2. Eli Ewan's the main man again for Hibs, Gordon, with a first half double to put them ahead. The French striker now is 5 in his last 5 games. He's on fire and he's chasing a hat-trick here. Lee Johnson's side failed 1-0. Joe Nobley's opener for Livingston, but they are now well in command. As I said, Livy started really well. Nicky Devlin had a chance, Christian Montano had a chance. The opener then arrived in 10 minutes. Joe Nobley collected a long pass from Morgan Boys, still had a bit of work to do. Nice footwork, twisted into space, fired in off the underside of the bar. Surprising it was only his third goal since August, but he's been really, really good. Hibs struggled to create early on. Ewan Henderson had a good chance, but he blazed it over the bar. Livy looked comfortable with that, all changed in 29 minutes. Chris Cadden's long ball cut the Livy defence open. Ewan raced clear, slipped his finish past Jamal George. Livy claimed for offside. They surrounded the referee, but a VAR check proved he was onside. And then in 37 minutes it was 2-1 to Hibs as Ewan scored again. The striker exchanged passes with Matthew Hope, really good move. He didn't really seem to catch his shot correctly, but he did manage to see it in off the post. The Hibs fans are loving it, the Livy fans are not happy. Half time, Livingston 1, Hibs 2.
So interesting first 45 minutes around the country then. Plenty of time to go for teams to get back in it. Before we come back with the half-time scores though, something we need to talk about that's much more important than even football and mental well-being. We've got a series of shows called Mind to Mind, which discusses how you can cope with stress, grief, opening up. And tomorrow night from 9:30pm, Grant Thompson is in conversation with actor Gary Hollywood, Olympic swimmer Hannah Miley, and singer-songwriter Callum Beattie. But right now, we're going to hear a bit more from a sporting football perspective and the positive impact sport can have on your mental well-being. So here's Grant, the Super Scoreboard pundit and Queen of the South manager Marvin Bartley, and Hannah Miley. They've been speaking about their own challenges and how sport made a difference to their lives.
Clyde One, supporting Mind to Mind on NHS Inform. Here's our very own Grant Thompson talking all things mental well-being with Queen of the South manager Marvin Bartley and retired Olympic swimmer Hannah Miley.
Marvin, I can only imagine what types of stress you must face when you're working in such a result-driven business. How have you found that?
The stress is at the start.
probably a lot more difficult. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of overthinking, a lot of second guessing yourself. I was probably sleeping for 2-3 hours a night at the start of the job, and very, very quickly I've got to a place now where I know that I do everything to 100%. So I do things for a certain amount of time that they will take to do them properly and to do them to the best of my ability. Outside of that, it's in the hands of the gods. And I always say the same thing. I go to bed with as much knowledge as I possibly can, but I wake up as a novice. That is how I live my life on a day-to-day basis. So what that means to me is I don't take stresses from one day to the next day. I take all that knowledge and I'm like a sponge, and I take it all in. Come the morning, that sponge is empty again, and I can take up all the knowledge that I need to take in.
Now, last weekend wasn't a great weekend for your team. When you face a heavy defeat like that, how do you deal with the stress that it brings on?
It's weird. I planned so many things. So before I came into football management, I always speak about this book that I had, but probably over the last 18 months I've built something up that would I could refer back to if something happens, like a defeat, a heavy defeat, a defeat that was unjust, whatever it might be. How would you deal with it? And I've written these things down when I wasn't in the situation of being a manager, and it was kind of like Monday morning, probably 2 o'clock in the morning, I remember that I had actually written these things, and I went and I read it, and I went through the kind of process, and then I managed to sleep. So I have to prepare myself for all eventualities, and that's the way I dealt with that stress.
And Hannah, how about you? How do you deal with life's daily stresses and anxieties?
I'm kind of still figuring it out at the minute. I've recently retired from competitive sports, so at the minute there's a bit of an identity crisis. I've been swimming for 20 plus years, and I was always known for being a swimmer, and then since hanging up my goggles it's kind of been like, now what? I was so set in who I was and what I was doing, and now it's like, well, where do I fit in the world? And my sense of purpose, my drive, I've gone from like the extreme adrenaline high of competing and training and finishing every day being mentally and physically exhausted, now feeling very lost. I kind of find you can't escape from stress. Stress does happen, but there's like a management zone, and it kind of reflects a little bit back to what I was doing in a competitive sense, that standing behind the block when you've got thousands of people watching you about to perform, it is quite stressful, but you kind of put it to one side and you can manage it. And now for me it's just trying to find what my management strategies are, and trying to get back into exercise and finding a routine is kind of my go-to at the minute.
Clyde One, supporting Mind to Mind on NHS Inform. Find out more at Clyde1.com. The fastest goals, the expert opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Busy afternoon of football so far. Let's run through some of the half-time scores for you then. Certainly in the 3 o'clock games, quite a few to get through up and down the country, starting as always with the Scottish Premiership. Hearts 1, St Johnstone 0, Livy 1, Hibs 2, Rangers 3, Kilmarnock 0, Ross County 0, Motherwell 0, and Dundee United Aberdeen is a 6 o'clock kick-off. In the Championship, Ayr 1, Inverness 1, Cove Rangers 0, Dundee 1, Partick Thistle 1, Wraith Rovers 0, Queen's Park 2, Morton 0. In League 1, Dunfermline 1, Alloa 0, Falkirk 0, Peterhead 0, Kelty 0, FC Edinburgh 1, Montrose 2, Clyde 0, Queen of the South 2, Airdrie 0. In League 2, Annan 1, Stenhousemuir 1, East Fife 1, Forfar 1, Elgin 0, Bonnyrigg Rose 0, Stirling Albion 2, Albion Rovers 2, and Stranraer 0, Dumbarton 1. A quick look at the English Premier League if you are interested. Full-time result: Man City 2, Newcastle 0. At the break, Arsenal 0, Bournemouth 1, Villa 1, Palace 0, Brighton 1, West Ham 0, Chelsea 0, Leeds 0, and Wolves 0, Spurs 0. Hugh Keevins, let's see if we can round off that first half teaser as well.
The first half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
Since 2016, 7 players have signed for Celtic or Rangers during the January window and have gone on to score at least 5 league goals. They are Rio Hatate, Daizen Maeda, Scott Wright, Yanis Hadji, Glenn Kamara, Jermaine Defoe and Patrick Roberts.
Everyone on the podium is called Michael. Other names are available, but in third place was Michael Smith. Well done to you, Michael. Second place was Miko. In first place was Michael 40451205, whoever he may be. So well done to the three of you, well done to everyone else, and thank you for taking part. The second half teaser and the second half of today's games is coming up next.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard. The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with Lookers Volvo. Here, wherever and whenever you need them. Visit them in store or online.
Compare cheap van insurance quotes that really do cut the mustard at mustard.co.uk. Details online, authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
The Clyde One Super Scoreboard podcast with Lookers Jaguar. Here, wherever and whenever you need them. Visit them in store or online. The experts' opinions. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Back underway then across the country at Ibrox. Cantwell's fine after receiving treatment before the break. One change for Killy. Ryan Alabiosu off, Jordan Jones on at 3-0 down. It's not what you want, is it?
They are going for it to get back in. It's just been a horrendous afternoon for Derek McInnes' side. Haven't started, been punished by Rangers. And I've got to say, actually, Rangers have played some good stuff, you know, to work themselves into those positions and then being clinical. It could be more, actually, than 3.
Concede at terrible times as well, Gordon. Early on, giving you nothing to hang on to, and then just before the break, turning it into a real heavy one at half time.
Yeah, obviously you go to Ibrox with a game plan, and most teams go there, especially Kilmarnock, to say, right, let's frustrate Rangers, let's try and make it nice and tight. But you lose a goal early, Rangers relax, playing good football, creating chances. It could be a long 45 in the second half for Killy.
Yeah, Danny Armstrong's moved to right wing back for Killy. Early shot for Jordan Jones, parried by Alan McGregor for a Kilmarnock corner. There we go.
There you go, positive change.
Why not?
Flattering to deceive.
What is?
Early corners.
Right.
Come to nothing.
Unprofessional, Hugh.
Yeah, absolutely.
Second half.
By the way, on that, apparently I read somewhere else the Bournemouth goal was actually scored after 8 seconds by all accounts.
No,
what happens?
That's even worse.
Oh, is it? Right, okay. There's a big difference between 20 seconds and 8 seconds.
Without doubt.
Let's do the teaser here. We'll give some maximum time for this one. And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland, has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now, they've decided though to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Romelu Lukaku and Russell Martin. I have been managed by Roy Hodgson and George Burley. I have played for 8 clubs on 2 different continents. I have never made it further than the semi-finals of a domestic cup. So, played alongside Romelu Lukaku and Russell Martin, managed by Roy Hodgson and George Burley, played for 8 clubs on 2 different continents, and I have never made it further than the semi-final of a domestic cup. Who am I?
Oh, I like it. At Clyde SSB, get thinking please. At Clyde SSB, see what you can come up with.
We've got a
early shout.
No. But close.
Oh, I saw that glint in your eye there, Gordon.
If that helps you.
I saw the glint in his eye.
Yeah,
he smiled there.
Yeah.
You were near. You've hit the crossbar.
Not bad.
You've hit the bar.
I mean, as close as a wrong answer can be on something like this. But
don't know what I'm not quite sure what that means.
There's a Scotsman scoring down south, Ryan Hardy. Obviously listened to the halftime team talk at Plymouth. He's come right out the traps a minute after the restart, and scored for Plymouth against Charlton. So there we go.
Ooh, got another one? Oh, yeah, that's the one I was thinking. Yes, that's the one.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
What was that one? Show me.
Supermarkets are available.
No, getting worse.
That's it, getting worse. Okay, getting colder.
Oh, I wonder how Alex Ray's taking this. Middlesbrough 3, Reading 0. It was only I don't know when the second one went in, but
and they might be
Reading
might be in for a 6-point deduction into the bargain.
Why is that, Hugh?
What has he done?
Not him.
I just assumed it was him.
Not him or Paul Ince, but the club with regard to financial matters, let's say.
We might want their t-shirts back.
Yeah.
I had mine's on the other day, actually. Cutting about the house.
Penalty, Ross County. Fraser did say it was a good start to the game, and the hosts looked most likely, well, they're going to have the chance from the spot. Butcher pulled back Baldwin in the box. County will have the chance. A clear penalty, says Fraser Wishart. So
that Butcher's second penalty he's gave away, did he give the one away at Wraith Rovers, or am I being harsh on him?
I think it did hit his hand, didn't it? It was a handball anyway. VAR is checking the penalty as you would.
But Fraser says it's a clear one.
He says it's clear, absolutely.
Yeah.
So could be a sore one for Motherwell, and a great time to go in front for Ross County. Remember, it's the relegation 6-pointer. You win that. If you're Ross County, you go level with Motherwell.
They'll take that. White Brophy? No, Brophy will not take it.
Motherwell are claiming there was an earlier foul. So again, this would come back to, in that attacking phase of play, it would need to be when Ross County took the ball and sort of started attacking, as long as Motherwell didn't take control of it in between times. It was from a corner though, so that's going to be a minefield when you try and
trace it back.
No, you don't need to trace it back that far. I just mean if there's a lot of bodies, because the attacking phase of play begins when the corner's taken.
This is where VAR gets good for the opposing side that the penalty's been given against, because remember, there was just no hope. It was just a penalty against you. Now you're thinking, there might have been something before.
Hold on, because Brophy's got the ball, but Don Robertson is going to go and look at the screen. So maybe he has clocked something. Gordon Dale, you've got the teaser.
Put it there, Dad. Put it there. Good
well done.
It's all me.
Well done. Get your suit ready for your big prize giving tonight.
I've gone with my DJ stuff on. Maybe get a wee gig.
Don Robertson's going to look at that screen, so it'll be interesting to see if he does overturn his own decision. Middlesbrough 4 up on Alex Ray's Reading now, by the way. So a bit of VAR drama, if you can call it that. Marvin's team talk, obviously hopeless. Queen of the South were 2 up. It's now 2-1. Gabriel McGill.
Who are they playing
for
today?
Airdrie. No penalty at Dingwall. VAR has spotted something that Don Robertson went to take a look at. He agrees, and there will be no penalty for Ross County at this moment in time. Clearly the correct call.
Is this the twist of fate? Can we now put the kettle on for a Kettlewell Motherwell goal?
Yellow card for Butcher rescinded. Taken back.
It goes to show you, when things are going for you, they're going for you. Now, probably is the right decision. But
so what's the problem?
But under Stevie Hamill, things just didn't seem to fall for him in that direction.
By the way, look, every team can do this, and I always say that. That's why I don't bring them up at the time, or I do, but not for long. But yeah, if you think of remember the penalty Motherwell got against them at Livy for the Ricky Lamy handball.
Oh, of course, yeah. Shocker.
There's been a few very interesting ones.
Yeah. And with Stuart Kettlewell just now, everything's just aligning in a positive manner.
We'll see. Hibs have missed a sitter as they looked to try and put that game a bit beyond. Livy 2-1 up at the moment.
It's a training exercise for Rangers, Gordon, is it not?
Yeah, but to be fair, Kilmarnock have pushed up the pitch in the second half more than they did in the first. But when you do that and you start to try and go for it's a very open game, Hugh, and I would expect Rangers to cut open Kilmarnock more than once or twice in the second half.
Remember before the break we said that it was, it's the start of the small-sided games again for the youngsters, and we tied it in because you're going out tonight to present the medals to
Cambusnethan and Talbots,
right, and you're going to wear your suit
off the tongue.
And we're wondering who else remembers a famous footballer or not so famous footballer, as the case may be, turning up at their awards night. Stevie's got a cracker. He says Billy McNeil handed out the prizes at my son's award night about 9 years ago, and he brought the big cup along. Stayed for hours talking to parents and coaches on a freezing night in East Kilbride. The man was a class above, says Stevie. I like that one.
You're not going to beat that.
No.
You can just close the competition now.
That'll
had
be
some
me
other
tonight.
ones, though.
I'll be staying back to speak to some of the parents.
Jamesy says, I remember Tommy Burns and Tom Boyd turned up at Loreto to hand out awards. I had to tell my old boy nobody came, or he would have made me dump the medal. He's on Twitter, so this is the first time that he'll find out.
Oh dear.
The rivalry runs deep. Partick Thistle 2, Wraith Rovers 0. Someone called that the Gordon DL Derby the other night. Remarkable.
To be fair to Chris Doolan,
the Chris Doolan era,
he's going very well. I mean, I would have to categorise his appointment as a surprise, because he's got no managerial experience to speak of, but it's all coming good.
Whoa, good chance, Kelly. Maybe better than good chance, you know. Ash Taylor slides in at the back post and can only hit the side netting. That might even be a sitter, you know. No?
Yeah, it looked a possibility. He's hurt himself, and he's hurt himself. But it's a good play from Kilmarnock down the right hand. I think they've got to do better.
Comes
there.
up a bit quickly, but
McGregor gets a touch on it. Does he just put the Ash Taylor off for that touch?
Livy red card. That could be that one really slipping away. They had just missed a good chance as well from Nicky Devlin, but now Jack Fitzwater has been sent off. He trips Hop as he goes through, and I just wonder, I mean, if it's a straight red, obviously VAR can take a look. So we'll find out. But at the moment, Livy down to 10 men.
Well, it's all going Hibs' way, one way or another. As I say, they need that kind of boost.
VAR checking it. They're claiming that Boys was covering. Oh, Marvin back in front, stretching his lead again. Sorry, 3-1. A bit like Hamilton last night. You know, is there a player covering? Is it a clear and obvious goal scoring opportunity?
I thought the one last night was never a red card. Got to say, I thought it was dished out very quickly as well. The red card.
What about Dick Campbell though?
Yeah.
Did you see him berating the match officials? Sent to the stand. He's then pictured in the stands flashing single fingered gesture towards someone elsewhere in the stadium, and remarkable.
This is what old boys do. I've just done Rage Against the Machine, and he's just done Rage Against the Crowd. So it's what old boys get up to.
Character, is that not the word they always use? Character.
Yeah. Character. And the guy that you tweeted about as well, character.
Two sets of glasses on, that's right.
His specs.
You've got to be prepared, I don't mind
They
that.
call you a character.
He needs to read a book halfway through.
What they really mean is half-wit.
Oberlai is getting ready. Fitzwater's still not off the pitch. He's hoping for some sort of reprieve from VAR. It's still being checked, so Livy are hoping to get a let off, just like Motherwell did a few moments ago.
I was also at Panic at the Disco last night as well.
What's that, you?
They're a band.
And you were... What? Right, quickly, because this is a touch more important. The red card stands. Livy are down to 10.
They were at the Hydro last night.
And you were there.
You were at the Hydro?
To drop
At
my
Panic at the Disco.
To drop my granddaughter.
All right, you had me. I honestly, the thought of it. I mean, you won't even have heard of them, will you?
No, I don't know who that is.
Just the thought of you, Keevins. Oh my goodness.
And what did you think of the crowd going in?
I thought
all very well dressed.
I thought they all looked like vagrants to me.
You did say you were an old boy a minute or two ago,
including my granddaughter.
Well, the thought of it.
They dress down to go out now. We used to dress up.
Exactly, Hugh. You always used to be smart with
like you tonight, suit on.
No,
Campbell Smith and Talbot
prize
given.
I can't be turning up with a suit.
You can.
Of course. At a certain age.
What do you mean by that?
Well, if you wear anything else, it's going to look odd.
A nice smart pair of trousers and
there's a good one as well. Sean McLaughlin says George Alberts gave the prizes when I played for Westerton United under 17. So starstruck was my manager, he wouldn't call him anything but the Hammer. He forgot to give out the main prize of the night, my Players Player of the Year trophy. Us goalies never get the credit, says Sean.
That was the best one to get, the Players Player of the Year, wasn't it? Like you knew.
I always get the top goal scorer.
The top goal scorer, did you?
Always. Yeah, nobody beat me.
Selfish.
We're having that though. What does that say about the team if the goalie's getting the Players Player of the Year?
Yeah, I was thinking
are they too open? Are they giving him too many moments in the limelight?
Nah.
Sorry, Sean. You're right, you don't get the credit. But some big names turning up at prize giving, and just think, in 15 years' time, when my successor, whoever he or she may be, asks the same question, someone will go, I remember I was 7 at Cambusneth and Talbot, and some old geezer in a suit, an ill-fitting suit called Gordon Duncan came to present our best.
Spoken
like
as
the creepy
voice.
That's on Clyde 1.
Could be a big swing in the English Premier League today. Arsenal are 2-0 down at home now to Bournemouth. Incredible.
Dear me.
This is all good fun, but actually, on a serious point to this, I don't get on my high horse about much on this show, but you see, when I got the message from Paul, who actually works at the Scottish FA, and he was talking about, you know, the young kids, they're starting their games again today, and how exciting that is, and how it should be exciting for everyone. I don't know if you know this, but the mission, if you like, from the Scottish FA, or the campaign, the mission statement is let them play. You know, they're 6, they're 7, they're 8, they're 9, 10 years old. Just go and let them play. Go and let them have fun. And it seems like such an important message, doesn't it?
Yes.
And I must admit, I was shocked, because I don't get an insight to this. I've got a 2-year-old daughter. We're not at that stage yet. I was watching an adults amateur game last weekend, but on the pitch behind was, honestly, they must have been 11 tops. Must have been. Right, my guess would have been the first sort of entry into 11-a-side football. So I think that happens round about high school age, doesn't it? And genuinely came away a bit sad, genuinely sad. Like, I kept thinking about it afterwards, at the way the coaches were speaking to the players, about the way the coaches were speaking to the opposition coaches, about the way the coaches and the parents were speaking to the referee, who was also a teenager. And I thought, wow, that is depressing. There's just no need for it whatsoever, because there can't be a justification for that. You know, there is no other side to this. You'll never convince me that that's okay or that's healthy.
You're
so
totally
let them
right,
play.
yeah.
Take a step back. Don't live out your football fantasy through your children.
That is the problem. People are unable to detach themselves from it. They think that watching their kids is like watching the team they support as adults, as paid professionals, and it couldn't be as far removed as possible.
It made me really sad last week, honestly. I thought at one point, see, when they were getting on to the ref was a kid, and they were sort of getting on to him, and I was, this is getting a bit uncomfortable. But we've got one of these at Ibrox.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's a goal for Kilmarnock. Dorset heads in from a corner. Is it a consolation? Is it the start of the unlikeliest comeback? You have to start somewhere. Derek McInnes will certainly be pleased. This second half's been much better than the first. It's a ball into the box. It's headed back across, and then Dorset steals in front of Alan McGregor to head home. Connor Goldson felt he was being climbed upon, but I think the goal does stand, and it's 3-1 to Rangers. So fair play to Killie Hugh, because you could have absolutely folded at that point.
And I did say to Gordon earlier on, it looks like a training session, but he rightly said that they were starting to move in a forward going direction. It's Rangers had better be careful. I don't mean that the result will be in doubt. It won't, but the fans will know a lackadaisical display when they see it. So I think Rangers now have to crank it up once again.
All credit to Kilmarnock. They've really been better in the second half. Obviously Derek tweaking one or two things, but if your Rangers a set play, McGregor doesn't do very well at the corner. He's got to do better for the goalkeeper, but look, they deserve it, because I think they've been very positive.
I mean, broadly speaking, Rangers have been slow in the first half under Michael Beale. Is that fair? And then then improved. I don't know if this will be a complete turnaround or the opposite effect, but first half cruising, 3 could have been anything. Much better, much more speed and fluency in midfield. They've not really got going second half, and Kilmarnock have pulled one back.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Gordon. It's been the opposite this afternoon, because there was some impressive stuff played, lots of movement. Cantwell looked lively, Jack looked like he was controlling the game in the midfield. You had Kent running past people, and it has went a wee bit backwards in the second half. But like, Derek McInnes made the change, and it was a positive one right from the off. I just need to watch what they're doing here. Rangers fans there are obviously desperate for a fourth goal, and that would just kill the game, but you got the other end, Kelly gets one, then it becomes a different environment to play in.
Yeah, 3-1 to Rangers at the moment, so still definitely in the comfortable category, but the next goal will tell us quite a lot about how the mood will be towards the end of the game, so we will find out. Graham R says 2 separate awards nights when I was a young goalie playing for Armadale. Lots of goalies getting in touch. Scott Arfield and Tam Scobie, and the other Jamie McDonald, the Hearts goalie, turned up with Gary Glenn. I won Players Player both occasions. I cannot be having all these goalies winning Players Player of the year.
I think that's
Poor side.
sympathy vote. Like the striker gets a Player of the Year. We'll give.
Incredible. Maybe these guys are just some top shot stoppers that are getting in touch with us.
Nobody else wanted to play in goals.
They needed a goalie, or the team would fold. So
there you go. You take the Player of the Year.
Cynical. So cynical.
Arsenal have pulled one back, incidentally. Thomas Partey, 62 on the clock. Arsenal 1, Bournemouth 2.
I bet you they win 3-2.
Right, we've got a big goal in Livingston. Which way has it gone, though? Let's find out.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And the numerical disadvantage has hampered Livy. It's 3-1 to Hibs, and it's Chris Cadden with the goal. Now looking comfortable. Livy down to 10 men. Hibs with a 2-goal cushion. And we've got another one of these at Tynecastle as well. Is it an equaliser? Have Hearts stretched their lead?
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
2-0. Josh Ginnelly again, and looking much more comfortable for Hearts. Cochrane to Mackay, cross goal, tap in. Harsh on St Johnstone by all accounts, but not a complaint to be had from Robbie Nielsen, because he's now 2-0 to the good, and Hibs 3-1 to the good.
I am so looking forward to 2 games between Celtic and Hearts in 2 different competitions over the space of 4 days. It has the potential to be truly explosive stuff. Celtic Park Wednesday night, Hearts, who will bring big support, and the Celtic fans love a Celtic Hearts game. And then I think Michael Beale will be rooting for Hearts against Celtic at Tynecastle in the Scottish Cup, because Rangers need to get the Scottish Cup. They need to win a trophy, and he would rather Celtic were no longer in the tournament.
James Tavernier's played a really slack pass 30 yards from the Kilmarnock goal, and there's a big groan right around Ibrox.
I'm well familiar with that.
So you've
I used to be a specialist in that. Pass inside, give it away.
Not fit to be the captain. We'll get that tonight. That's the usual.
For that Livy goal, Hibs goal, it probably goes down as a Stefan Omiyonga own goal. I think it was deflected in by him. It looked like Cadden's kind of trying to cross for Yuan, but deflected in. So we gave Cadden a moment of credit. We're taking it away, giving it to Omiyonga. Cadden, former Motherwell man. And speaking of Motherwell, they've made the first change. They've rolled the dice. Dean Cornelius on, Sean Goss off. So just a midfield change. Same position, maybe a touch more energy. But we'll see how that one pans out. Stirling Albion 3, Albion Rovers 2. Paul McLean putting Stirling back in front. Great game that. Kelty 0, FC Edinburgh 2. Kyle Jacobs. And it's getting lively. I'll tell you what, heavy driving rain in Dingwall, Fraser says, bodes well for the drive home.
It's one of the nicest days of the year when we walked in here.
Sorry, Fraser. Absolutely lovely here. Right, Hugh, I think what we should maybe do is check in on that second half teaser. Get some wrong answers out the way, help people along.
So I have played alongside Romelu Lukaku and Russell Martin. I've been managed by Roy Hodgson and George Burley. I have played for 8 clubs on 2 different continents, and I have never made it further than the semi-finals of a domestic cup. Who am I?
Matty McHattie says, is it Stephen Naismith?
No.
A few people are saying Stephen Naismith, you know. Interesting.
Stephen Naismith played in the League Cup final win for Rangers for a start.
Yeah.
We've got Lee who says, is it Robert Snodgrass?
Snoddy, no.
That's the one you guys went for as well, isn't it?
Well, Mark went for that. I went for someone different.
At Clyde SSB, that is where you send your guesses, please. So have a look at the question if you need it written down. If you need to see it written down, that's where you'll find it, and that's where you tweet your answers. Billy the Celt says, Tommy Burns gave out the medals and trophies when I played as a child around 89, and he was genuinely interested. Legend. R.I.P. says Billy
Tommy
the
was
Celt.
interested in everyone. Tommy wasn't he? Brilliant guy. Paul Kinneard was another one that dished it. No, I've just googled Paul Kinneard. He had 24 clubs.
I signed Paul Kinneard.
But I knew you would have signed him.
I signed
He was
Paul
one that
Kinneard.
sticks me. I've got a photo
He's the only
Me
guy.
kneeling down.
He's the only guy. True story. We play Rangers in the Cup at Somerset, and he gets man of the match. Terrific player at times, Paul. Get man of the match. And I was in the dressing room after it, and I'm looking about. I can't see him. He was standing outside the front door with a bike that he received for man of the match, and selling it to he was selling the bike outside the wee strip on.
What a businessman.
Oh, brilliant.
You know, like for a while handball was in fashion for VAR. It seems like this weekend it's Dalziel, as the referees call it, denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity, because we had one at Hamilton last night. We spoke about Livy. In Dingwall, Jack Baldwin has been yellow carded, but now Don Robertson's gone to look at the screen to see if it should be a red card for denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity, or Dalziel, as the phrase goes. So if he's gone to the screen again, like he did with the penalty, we're all well versed from every league in the world. You know that tends to mean the decision is going to be changed. Not always though, not always, but more often than not. So Fraser Wishart will keep us up to speed there. Could be a big moment, and it is. It's a red card for Jack Baldwin. So VAR playing a big part in that game. Ross County had a penalty and it got taken away. Their skipper had a yellow card and it got turned into a red. So they're down to 10 men. Numerical advantage Motherwell, but my goodness, Tynecastle and at home to Kilmarnock, Motherwell have messed up against 10 men a few times this season.
But this is a different Motherwell side. They're playing with a bit of confidence. They've picked up 7 out the last 9 points. I think this is a great opportunity to add to that, and if they get 3 points today, I don't think they're in any way going to be dragged into a relegation battle.
It's 50-50 for Fraser. He says Iacoviti maybe, well, he says Iacoviti covering, but also says it was 50-50, so I don't know. We'll have another look at it later. Dunfermline 2, Alloa 0, Kevin O'Hara, Annan 2, Stenhousemuir 2, Matt Yates. Is this where do you need to be really is there an opportunity to be really brave now if you're Stuart Kettlewell? Do something different right now, whatever it may be. I mean, I know we've got Van Veen and Abika on anyway, but do you go and do something to really try and take advantage of it?
I think Motherwell fans will learn a lot from Stuart Kettlewell in these closing, 20 minutes. Yeah, if he's brave and thinks my squad's good enough to make use of the man advantage.
What could you do though? Because like I say, if Abika and Van Veen are already on anyway,
well, I would, if I was him, I think this is what we'll do. We'll leave it for a few minutes to see where the balance of the game is, or Watson, where you can exploit.
Keith Watson's come on for Guion Edwards to obviously shore it up a bit for Ross County.
So if Ross County are obviously, if they've not got 2 up anymore, then obviously you can withdraw one of your defenders if you like and put someone more attacking. So it'll be interesting. Next couple of minutes he'll assess it and then see what he needs. Or before the game, I was going to say, he may have looked at this fixture and went a point again away from home, back away games.
He's got a great opportunity to capitalise on that, man. I think you've got to be brave, get an attacking player on, somebody a bit of width, bit of pace, maybe get in behind, stretch.
Stevie Hamill did take a lot of criticism, didn't he, when it was at Kilmarnock game, and he didn't change anything until the 83rd minute, 84th minute, and Derek McInnes made all his subs by then, and that stuck with them, because a lot of callers that phoned the show kept referring back to that.
Hearts are showboating. They're bringing on Andy Halliday to try and add to their 2-0 advantage. Speaking of Clyde 1 Super Scoreboard pundits, Marvin Bartley's now leading Airdrie 3-2.
Classic.
That's going to be nervy.
It's what the fans want to see. Open football.
He's an entertainer. The big game down south at the top, Arsenal 2, Bournemouth 2. Hugh, you called it. Well, you partly called it. Nicholas Raskin's gone off for John Lundstrom, so another key period of game time in his legs. Is that be the way to look at it? I think by all accounts an impressive first half performance.
Amazing how the game shifted though in this second half. A lot more open, Kilmarnock more adventurous going forward. They had an opportunity there, it was flashed across the face. Doidge just almost getting the end there. So
we'll be able to take a temperature check of the Rangers fans at 5 o'clock when they dial 951 1025, because those who have been there, our eyewitnesses, will tell us whether it was so, a little bit better than that, not what they expected. It's first half okay, you get penalty, Goldson gets his goal, Sakala.
First half was better than okay though, wasn't it, in terms of job done? Because it was done convincingly, wasn't it?
First half, yes. Kilmarnock were never in it, but it's just drifting along, this game, as far as Rangers are concerned.
Yeah, certainly is now. What else? Long range strike from Cholak saved there by Walker in the Kilmarnock goal. They made the change as well, actually. Danny Armstrong took a bit of a knock. He's replaced by Fraser Murray. So Kilmarnock making changes as well. Hearts making a couple. Andy Halliday is on for Alex Cochrane, and Keogh has come on for one of the wrong answers on today's teaser, Robert Snodgrass.
Well, Rangers getting the job done, but is it being done to the satisfaction of the support? That's what I'll look forward to hearing at 5 o'clock. And with regard to the rest, Stuart Kettlewell, I mean, if he comes away from Dingwall, I don't care whether it's 10v11, if he comes away from Dingwall with a point, he'll look at that as a satisfactory day for him.
Yeah, I would agree with that. When he looks at the games where he was put in interim charge to now, he looked at it as a block when he then got the job and how many points he could have taken out of that. If it's a point, no disaster. I get you as Motherwell fans want to go ahead and win that game, but
I think
a terrific job he's doing.
Yeah, but I still think it's a great opportunity if you're against 10 men to go and really get the 3 points. Yeah, I think 11v11 you'd be quite happy leaving Dingwall with another point, but if you're Motherwell now, you want 3.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And we've got another goal for Hearts. It's Hearts 3, St Johnstone 0, and it's a Hearts midfielder with a slightly receding hairline. It's George Grant who's got the third. Andy's is fine.
Of course, Andy's is fine. Sorry,
now.
I forgot about that.
It's George Grant. Right. Goal in Dingwall.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's a goal for Kevin Van Veen. Ross County 0, Motherwell 1. The sending off, maybe the moment that did swing it in Motherwell's favour. We said, will they go for it? Can they get the victory against 10 men? Blair Spittle, one of the players revitalised under Stuart Kettlewell, former Ross County player. His cross, Van Veen could not miss, and he has headed home from 6 yards to make it Ross County 0, Motherwell 1.
Well, I said get a bit of width into the side, get balls in it, and get your centre forwards on the end of them. I'm pleased, because I think when you get that advantage, then you've got to take it, and Motherwell certainly have, and that would be a great 3 points.
Look at the table now. Look where Motherwell, if it stays like that, find themselves.
Can't bear to look.
St Johnstone losing, obviously, so a point behind St Johnstone, and then just a couple of weeks ago,
a 12th league goal of the season for Kevin Van Veen as well.
That's a good return.
Not a bad return at all, is it? I mean, it's the same as James Tavernier. It's one more than Cholak, unless he scores now. It's 2 more than Duke. It's a couple more than Morelos, and so he's never going to be everyone's cup of tea, and he doesn't perform all the time, Mark. But if you're just talking about a goal return at a club that's struggling down the league, that's a good return.
It is, and he's been a great signing. Remember last year, I thought he would. I thought he would be off in the summer just because the impact he made. I think this season, I thought performance levels he's maybe went backwards, and his mobility I thought would be an issue for Motherwell. But he's playing with a strike partner now. He's playing with an out and out forward, and people getting in the box to support him. Plenty supplying the wide areas, and he's benefiting.
Barry Robson, the interim manager at Aberdeen, was saying this morning in the newspapers that he doesn't believe in new manager bounce. He's saying, show me the stats that prove it's true. So whoever wants to look up those stats is very welcome, but it is true in the case of Stuart Kettlewell, because this is his 4th game in charge and he hasn't lost any of them, and that is the kind of bounce that bounced him into the job. Because when Stevie Hamill was got rid of the night of the defeat against Wraith Rovers, things looked bleak for Motherwell, and Stuart Kettlewell has turned it all around. So in his case, the new manager bounce is accurate.
An 18-year-old debutant, certainly a Premiership debut for David Watson of Kilmarnock. Alan Power's gone off. The 18-year-old's come on, immediately fouls Fashion Sakala, and probably should have been booked, but nevertheless, there's that wee bit of adrenaline when you go on.
Yeah, especially for an 18-year-old.
Great those days when you were excited going on.
Yeah, a young boy, you just want on the pitch, you want to get a good first touch. Delighted that Derek's given the youth a bit of chance at Kilmarnock.
Obalai's off injured. He came on, did he not? Did he come on when Jack Fitzwater got sent off? I think he might have. I'll double check. Anyway, De Lucas has come on. Long delay. Yes, he did. He just came on when Jack Fitzwater got sent off. Obalai, and now he's gone off as well. So not ideal.
Not a good period for Livy, is it, at the minute? Go back to that cup defeat from Inverness, and then a few results after that, and then followed up by today. Not often David Martindale.
Not often Davy Martindale gets it wrong, but he said prior to the match, and Gordon played the clip, Hibs at Easter Road are different from Hibs at Livingston. Well, no, not really, because they've just beaten you.
Bad day for wee angry baldy men everywhere, because Alex Ray's Reading are losing 5-0 at Middlesbrough. This will not.
If it goes to
this
6,
will not be
the
taken
magical
well.
6.
Well, Andy Halliday can't be on Monday night, so just tell him to get his stuff ready.
This will not be taken well.
It means I'll also get a lift home.
By the way, we said they needed a result. Ayr won Inverness 2. We said they needed the result earlier
what
on.
turnaround that is.
Gregor Buchanan's also added a second for Dumbarton. Very tight at the top of League 2. But I think Stirling Albion are back in front, aren't they?
Think so.
3-2, a classic there.
2 games in hand though.
And
who's Stirling?
Think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they've got 2 games in hand.
Yeah, going in, it stays. It's a 5-point gap, but Stirling have got 2 games in hand, and I believe they play each other
Wednesday night.
This midweek, I think. I can't remember. It's a midweek coming up soon. Anything else to tell you about just now? Not quite. Just one more reminder at the moment of the teaser, please, Hugh.
I have played alongside Romelu Lukaku and Russell Martin. I have been managed by Roy Hodgson and George Burley. I've played for 8 clubs on 2 different continents, but I've never made it further than the semi-finals of a domestic cup.
The real Stevie says Matty Kennedy.
No.
Another shout coming in for James Morrison.
No.
Okay, interesting.
Well, I guess Morrison as well.
Keep your guesses coming. Falkirk 3, Peterhead 0. Craig McGuffey wrapping up the points there. Surely Ginnelly off to a standing ovation on his return, getting 2 goals for Hearts, and Morelos ready to come on for Rangers.
Well, interesting.
Swap, or will he go with the 2 up top? You just wonder.
Well, no goal for Cholak today. I'm sure he would have been desperate to get back, and he's actually not started many league games recently. Antonio Cholak, this is his first start in the league since the 8th of January. Remember, Rangers won 2-0 at Tannadice. He got hooked at half time that day, and it was goalless at half time. He got hooked, and I don't think he's started a league game since, unless I'm mistaken.
Just doesn't seem Michael Beale's cup of tea, Cholak. When you look at that record, the amount he's played, the big games as well, no, he's not played either. And he started so promising as well, and you think his performances going back to like Tynecastle and things like that, some of the finishes.
Is it the age-old debate, if you like, about strikers like him? I'm not saying he does nothing else, or I wouldn't be that disrespectful, but if it's a game where he doesn't score, then you obviously need to bring a lot more to the party to turn that into an overall
memorable
performance. You know, you talk about for people who are into that sort of thing, he's XG or whatever at the start of the season, he was deadly. You know, he was just almost like converting every chance that he got.
Yeah.
And if that dries up, because it will inevitably, that's what the stat tells you, it's hard to keep up that strike rate. If that stops, and then you're maybe going to be judged a bit more for what else you do. To be fair, he looked alright first half, looked good, and he set up one of the goals.
Yeah, he set up Sakala's.
And it's Sakala that's off for Morelos. And just before, Cholak almost scored. Header saved by the legs of Sam Walker. So Sakala off, Morelos on.
Well, I was saying I was very interested to see Michael Beale would have went with the 2 up top. I know a lot of Rangers fans have been crying out for it. It's an ideal opportunity. You're right, Gordon, as a centre forward, if you're not scoring and you're one of these box centre forwards, and I know what I'm talking about because I made a career out of it.
Right, okay. You almost got through the show without a comment like that.
No, it's a bit of criticism for myself.
Oh, right, that's all you did?
Yeah, all I did was score goals.
What criticism?
But if I wasn't scoring, I wasn't contributing. That's what I'm trying to get.
Need to see if the net gets cast far and wide for the goal of the week on Monday night, because that Craig McGuffey goal that I told you about for Falkirk from the halfway line, apparently. So we'll need to get a look at that.
unprofessional goalkeeper.
This is something I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, because when I went to work at Rangers Ross County, we keep obsessing over, will Michael Beale play two up front? And what people really mean is, will he play Cholak and Morelos? Because see, that day against Ross County, for all intents and purposes, it was Morelos and Sakala up front. And the same today, by all accounts. Andrew McLean's just brought it to my attention that really Sakala and Cholak have played up front mostly together, with Sakala sometimes drifting right. So maybe we need to start being honest. When we talk about two up front for Rangers, do you mean Morelos and Cholak?
Yeah. I think the modern game now, that isn't unusual. That in possession, you form a different formation than out of possession. So Rangers in possession, Sakala very close to Cholak today, means it's two up front. And maybe out of possession he'll then fill in a wider position, and people will then say, oh no, look, it's a three. Formations are very fluid these days.
I have to assume that Craig McGuffey's most recent goal was closer than the halfway line. He scored again, Falkirk 4, Peterhead 0
at Queen's Park.
That could be a big goal. That George Oakley, were Queen's Park 2-0 up?
2-0 up.
Morton are level. Queen's Park 2, Morton 2, George Oakley on 81 minutes. That could shake things up in the Championship title race.
Great league.
That is a great league.
Yes,
you look at Partick, that a few weeks ago I'm thinking they're well out of it, but the win today followed up, following on for midweek against Dundee. Queen's Park slip up, Ayr slipping up. It's
Partick could get into third.
It's up for grabs.
Yep, could get into third place. Joint second, 43 points.
Blair Malcolm of Albion Rovers has been sent off for foul and abusive language. Couldn't possibly condone that. Motherwell's efforts to shore things up have come in the form of Ricky Lamy on his return from injury, Callum Slattery off, and Callum Butcher into midfield.
Well, there was a Scottish assistant referee who was guilty of abusive language in Parliament the other day.
I noticed that,
and he didn't get a yellow card, and there was no VAR.
What did he get? It was a slap in the wrists. Was it a reminder of using industrial
you
language?
Can't swear in Parliament?
Apparently not.
Yeah, probably should know that.
He said, do you think you're on SuperScoreBoard?
There is no bleep function available. Right, we're definitely in late drama territory. I think David Friel's in for a late night, because every time he gets in touch, somebody's injured, and in fact Omionga's gone off injured, which means Livy are down to 9 men.
Wow.
And did it go in off him, the goal as well? So
yep,
not good afternoon.
No, absolutely not.
Disastrous period for Livy. That's they've been so good throughout the season, big results, but no.
Speaking of famous football chancers who are places that they shouldn't be, like you tonight probably. You'll see my tenuous link here in a minute. Another famous football chancer that you think, what's he doing there? Do you know Infantino, the head of FIFA, is at Millwall Norwich today?
I did see that, but I don't know why.
I thought
you were going to tell us why.
What reason could there possibly be?
Well, I'll tell you what, he'll be better off for it. That's my guarantee.
The Millwall fans are a lively bunch. I played a game down there for Bristol, one of my only games for Bristol City, and it was eye-opening.
Yeah, Millwall have just scored, which just reminded me. Producer Michael tells me he's at IFAB meetings in London, which doesn't answer the question the way you think it does, Producer Michael, because there must have been
Arsenal
other games in London they could have taken in
at home
rather than Millwall Norwich. Is he trying to say he's a man of the people?
Yeah.
I'm sure he is.
You'd do the same, wouldn't you? If you had the choice at Arsenal at the end,
which is funny,
Chelsea at Stamford
did he
Bridge.
not spend the autumn into winter proving that he's the furthest thing from a man of the people that you could ever imagine?
I know, but you remember his speech.
Exactly, that was my point.
So today he'll be saying, today I am a Millwall casual.
Get the badge in, Gianni, if you're listening. Anyway, that's the most we've ever spent talking about a Millwall Norwich game. I think we'll move on, get back to our bread and butter. Rangers 3-1 up against Kilmarnock. Fair play to Killie. They could have properly folded. Rangers may have played a part in that by falling off of it. It looks like they'll just move on towards a routine, good first half, if unspectacular second.
And that's the word, Gordon, routine. When the manager spoke during the week, he spoke about this team needs oxygen. And based on today's display, I get what he's talking about. This team go about their business in a routine fashion, but not a startling fashion, not as the kind of football that gets you up. And as I say, I'll be interested in the fans who were there giving us their eyewitness account.
To be maybe some, will Gordon will acknowledge that it's going to be a one step at a time process. Win at home, never in any danger whatsoever, score 3 goals, have the game put to bed by half time. That would be your positives, and there's always room for improvement. I don't think anyone expected for 6 days later Rangers to become a picture of perfection all of a sudden.
No, I think they'll be.
They have the ball in the net, by the way. Flag goes up. Ryan Jack, Cholak's past him. We did say the second goal at Dingwall could change everything. Which way has it gone?
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And it's Kevin Van Veen again, and it's Motherwell again. Ross County 0, Motherwell 2. Van Veen with a double. He got a hat-trick in Dingwall earlier in the season. He'd probably never heard of Dingwall before he came to Fir Park, but he absolutely loves it now. It was a Johnston shot deflected to Van Veen, another 6-yard finish, and Motherwell look home and hosed.
Barry Robson made doubt the existence of the manager bounce, but it exists in the case of Motherwell and Stuart Kettlewell, because it's 4 games, I think 10 points from those 4 games.
Yep.
And that for me is a transformation. That has saved Motherwell's season. It's for others now, including Malky Mackay in Ross County, Derek McInnes, Kilmarnock. It's for them to worry now. But I think Motherwell have made the right decision to change the manager and brought in the right guy.
Well, certainly the results so far have shown that with the same squad of players. It'll be delighted, as I say, difficult fixtures. 10 points out of 12. It'll be absolutely over the moon. I'm just glad that they were brave enough when it went down to 11v10 to go for the game, to go for the 3 points. Because, probably at the start at 3 o'clock, you come out there with a point, you'd be quite happy coming down the road. But 3 points are better.
4 minutes added at Ibrox, and a significant substitution because John Souttar is going to come on alongside Scott Arfield and Yanis Hadji. But clearly it's the appearance of Souttar which is the most significant one. Mark Wilson hasn't played a single minute for Rangers since the opening day of the season. He has epitomised Rangers' injury problems. Of course, it's a nightmare for him personally. In fact, it's the latest nightmare for him personally. 217 days out of action, and he returns this afternoon.
Tough for everyone, but none more so than John Souttar, because I get fans are frustrated and they want to see signings play, and there was so much expectation about Souttar, but believe me, Souttar would have felt it more than anybody. So that's good news for him that he's back, and hopefully he can steer clear of injury.
When you're in Dingwall and you think, right, I've had a good day at my work, just get me back down the road.
What's happened?
9 minutes added on
for Fraser.
9. I take it back when I said Motherwell were home and hosed. 9 minutes added. Zach Ruddins hit the post for St Johnstone.
They're a 10-man team like Ross County. Need another 9 minutes to get even more tired.
Long VAR checks. Angry face emoji, says Fraser Wishart. He hates the VAR checks, doesn't he? It's going to wear him down by the end of the season.
At least he got a couple of goals. At least he got action.
Listen, he's a Motherwell legend. I thought he'd have been delighted with the outcome.
Exactly. That's his team.
His roots, that guy, honestly.
Fraser should be manning the barricades. He should be saying VAROUT.
Brighton 4, Hugh, West Ham 0.
See,
will you be torn though? I mean, Brighton put a bit of pressure on David Moyes.
Well, you see, you have to look after your family, and they're season ticket holders, so Moyes get plenty of money.
Speaking of managerial greats, Marvin Bartley's Queen of the South have beaten Airdrie 3-2.
Great result. Well done, Marvin.
Very good. Well done. I'm sure
we'll never hear the end of
all about it midweek whenever he may appear. 4 minutes added at Hearts. Cantwell, Cholak, Davies off. Arfield is on. Hadji is on. So is John Souttar. 217 days out injured.
Hadji's a big one as well for Rangers, because we've seen him a couple of weeks ago and then he disappeared again, maybe just taking his time. But when you talk about creativity and moving things quick and being fluid, Hadji certainly ticks a lot of those boxes. Rangers have missed him. Filled that right hand side for a long time for Rangers. Now he's not an out and out winger, but certainly a creative force that Beale can be doing with rather than without.
8 added at Livingston, so David Fields got off lightly. He's fine, he'll be up the road in no time.
It's getting into World Cup territory.
Yeah.
These stoppages added on time.
Livy sounds a bit more old fashioned. They did have their VAR checks, but just a couple of really bad injuries, I think. The main driver at Livy. Full time whistle starting to go. Dramatic winner for Stenhousemuir at Annan, Ross Forbes.
Well, we've settled the teaser
in
then.
the 91st minute. Yeah, why not? Hugh Keevins go on then.
The second half teaser
with the scottishsun.co.uk/football for the best football news and opinion online.
I have played alongside Romelu Lukaku and Russell Martin. I have been managed by Roy Hodgson and George Burley. I have played for 8 clubs on 2 different continents, and I've never made it further than the semi-finals of a domestic cup. Who am I? Graham Dorrans.
Graham Dorrans, well done if you got that right. Nizzy certainly did, but he was third fastest. Michael Smith was in second place, and Magic Matondo is the winner, first place, fastest in on the second half teaser. Well done to the 3 of you, well done everyone else who got it, and thank you for listening and playing along as well. Falkirk have got a 5th, it's a McGuffey hat-trick there. Full-time whistles really are starting to go. It's done at Ibrox, I believe. Andrew McLean? Not quite yet, maybe. Not quite yet. Well, we'll find out. We'll get a full-time whistle from Andrew in the near future. I'm pretty sure it is done. I don't know what's happening. We'll speak to him soon. Abika's fired wide for Motherwell, so it doesn't look like there's any real danger, but there is about 6 minutes left, I think, of additional time there. Quite something in Dingwall. Alright, it's full time at Ibrox. Andrew?
Rangers 3, Kilmarnock 1, the full-time score, and it was an impressive first half for Michael Beale's men that gets them the points here at Ibrox today. It was the perfect start for them as well in what has been a bit of a turbulent week. They worked a corner into the box. Todd Cantwell had 2 shots blocked. Antonio Cholak had one saved. The ball eventually fell to the feet of Connor Goldson and he stroked home just 7 minutes into the game. Fashion Sakala had 2 good chances after that. The first was from Ben Davis's ball over the top. Sakala took it down well, but Sam Walker made the save. Then a really good chance, the second one, a lovely low cross by Ryan Kent across the 6-yard box. Sakala was sliding in. He looked odds on to score, but somehow turned that one round the post. However, he did get his goal in the first half. 25 minutes in, the ball fell to Antonio Cholak in the box. He laid it off to Sakala and he found the back of the net with a side-footed effort. They then got the chance to extend their lead from the spot. Willie Collum going to the screen for a potential handball. Todd Cantwell's ball it was, over the top, hitting the arm of Jarell Dorset, and Willie Collum decided it was a penalty. James Tavernier stepping up to take, and he scored to make it 3-0 just before the break. Kilmarnock then brought on Jordan Jones during half time, and they started to cause some problems. He had a shot saved by Alan McGregor. They then got a goal back as well. A corner whipped in, headed towards goal, and there was Jarell Dorset flicking it on into the back of the net for 3-1. Derek McInnes' side, they were a lot more competitive in the second 45. They didn't trouble Alan McGregor too much, but Sam Walker's goal wasn't really being peppered either at the other end. He did need to make a stop from Antonio Cholak's header. Ryan Jack also late on had the ball in the back of the net. That one was flagged for offside. There was also time for a late substitute appearance for John Suter returning from injury, but comfortable in the end for Rangers, and they'll be happy to get the 3 points after the last week. The full-time score here at Ibrox: Rangers 3, Kilmarnock 1.
Rangers fans, what did you make of that? Was that the reaction you were looking for? Let us know. 01419511025. Right now it's full-time at Tynecastle. Roger Hannah.
Yeah, Hearts 3, St Johnstone 0. Hearts cement third place in the Premiership tonight. 2 goals by Josh Ginnelly and a late clincher from George Grant. It's the third time they've hit St Johnstone for 3 goals this season. It's a great boost for Robbie Nielsen at the start of a week when they'll face Celtic away and home in the League and Cup. They took the lead after 21 minutes in controversial fashion. Josh Ginnelly's shot clipping the heel of a Saints defender at wrong-footed goalkeeper Remy Matthews and flew into the bottom corner. The controversy coming in the build-up. Looked like Lawrence Shanklin, the Hearts captain, had fouled Adam Montgomery. Saints players surrounding referee Stephen McLean. It went to a VAR check, but Graham Granger confirmed the goal to put the Jamboes ahead. It was a real kick-on for them. Remy Matthews having to save a fierce shot from Shanklin 4 minutes later, but the Saints just wouldn't be shaken off, and they threatened an equaliser either side of the break. Stevie May's cross looked as if it was going to be toe poked home by Drew Wright in 31 minutes. Somehow Hearts managed to smuggle the ball away inside the 6-yard box. Then Xander Clark called into action against his former club to tip over from Cammy McPherson just before the break. Then Melker Hallberg, 3 chances either side of the half-time whistle. First heading over, then heading into the arms of Clark from Graham Carey's corner, and then flashing a shot wide after 58 minutes when he perhaps would think he should have hit the target. And it was costly. 5 minutes later, in 63 minutes, it was 2-0. A great move down the left-hand side by Hearts. Alec Cox ball into Barry Mackay, and his cut back from the left with a tap in for Ginnelly for 2-0. That became 3-0 in 73 minutes. George Grant's corner, it was cleared back out to Barry Mackay. He fed it to Grant at a very acute angle on the right hand side. He crossed it and it missed everyone, and it sneaked in at the far post for a rather fortuitous third goal. Ginnelly back from a 1-game suspension. He was subbed to a standing ovation. St Johnstone weren't quite finished. Substitute Zach Rudden hit the post near the end, and it was tough in Callum Davison's side. He contributed a great deal to a really good game of football. Hearts won't be bothered. They almost got a fourth in the last minute. Substitute Garan Kowal hitting the bar in added time, but they're back to winning ways, and now it's a season-defining double-header against Celtic. Hearts 3, St Johnstone 0.
I would say it should be full-time elsewhere, but I think Fraser Wishart and David Friel have got quite a while to go yet, in Dingwall and Livingston respectively. So another reminder, the open line is here. Get in touch, 01419511025. Particularly in this city, Rangers fans, if you're leaving Ibrox or if you managed to watch or listen today, how was it? How was that as a response? 3-0 up, cruising at half-time. Clearly not as convincing a second half, but is that okay? Is that to be expected? Did you want more? Who impressed you? What about the return of John Souttar? All the rest of it. 01419511025. Call us right now please if you can, and it's full time in Dingwall. Fraser.
It is full time. Ross County 0, Motherwell 2, and Kevin Van Veen likes Dingwall, I think would be the headline. He scored both goals today. He scored 3 in October, and this is a fantastic win for Motherwell, but VAR played a huge part in this victory. Don Roberts, the referee, got two big calls during the game. He got them both wrong, but he's lucky enough to have the backup of VAR to correct his mistakes as he ordered a penalty to Ross County, overturned it. Kevin Clancy sent him to the screen, and then he gave a yellow card to Jack Baldwin, and again was sent to the screen and gave Baldwin a red card at 0-0. With plenty of chances in the first half, County more likely to score, but Motherwell did also have a threat. Eamon Brophy particularly looking sharp, testing Kelly, and the Motherwell goalie forced the keeper into one good save with his feet and another one really good save low to his left. Kelly also kept out a low curling shot by Danda, again low to his left. That was a very, very good save. At the other end, Obika headed wide when he should have done better, and Laidlaw had to dive to his left to push away a Van Veen 20-yard shot on half-time. Then at 48 minutes, the first of those big decisions, Don Robertson awarded County a penalty. A George Harman corner coming into the box. I saw a tug on Jack Baldwin's shot by Callum Butcher. Motherwell claimed for a free kick their way earlier on in the move, and VAR it was Kevin Clancy sent Don Robertson to the screen, and he changed his mind and said no penalty. Still County more of the ball. A couple of dangerous Danda crosses flashed across goal, no takers, but neither keeper really been tested as the importance of this game, I think, was wary of the players as they dug in, just trying not to make a mistake. But 66 minutes, Motherwell got a real advantage. County down to 10 men. Kevin Van Veen knocked the ball past Jack Baldwin. It was a clear foul by the big centre back, 25 yards from goal. Referee Don Robertson on the spot gave him a yellow card. But once again, after the VAR check, Kevin Clancy sent Robertson to the screen. He changed it to a red card for Baldwin for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. Always decided that Jakubiti was not covering enough. It's actually County had the next chance, 10 men or not. Nolan Kenny drove a loose ball a yard wide, but 74 minutes, Motherwell did use that advanced take lead. A lovely pass by Slattery, played in Blair Spittle. He got to the ball to the byline, and the ex-County midfield player crossed brilliantly, just hung it up to the back post, and Kevin Van Veen scored from 6 yards with a powerful head. Then 3 minutes left on the clock. Motherwell wrapped up the points. Van Veen with a cross towards Cornelius. Cornelius did well to actually keep it in. He cut the ball back to Max Johnson. Young right back had 2 goals at goal. His second shot deflected to Van Veen, who coolly took a touch and tucked the ball into the back of the net from 6 yards. Motherwell win takes them further away from Dundee United at the bottom. 10 points now, the difference for United to play tonight, and 10 points is a number that they have earned under Stuart Kettlewell in his 4 games in charge. Great start for Stuart Kettlewell's career as Motherwell manager. Full time in Dingwall, Ross County 0, Motherwell 2.
Huge win that, Motherwell fans. What do you think? Same number to you, 01419511025. Not only are we still playing in Livingston.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
It's 4-1 to Hibs, sorry, my apologies. Kuharevich scored. It was given offside but checked, and the goal stands 4-1. And Shamal George, the Livy goalkeeper, is injured. They're down to 9 men already. David Friel is set for the latest finish of all time. It's 5 o'clock, by the way, and that game has not yet finished. He's okay now, Shamal George, but the game isn't done. How big a win's that for Motherwell? Quickly, Hugh.
Exceptional. I think it's the one that turns the corner for the season, and it proves that the appointment of Stuart Kettlewell as manager was an inspired piece of business by Motherwell, including Alan Burrows, before he left the club to go to Aberdeen, but he has to pick another manager as chief executive there. But 4 games, 10 points out of 12 equals success.
Come on, give us a call. Open lines here. One more full-time report, though. It comes from Livingston. David Friel.
Full-time, Gordon, finally at Livingston. Livingston 1, Hibs 4. What a game, what a crazy game actually. Lee Johnson was desperate for Hibs to honour the memory of Ron Gordon after his sad passing, and his players certainly delivered that. Eli Ewan scored a first half double, Stefan Omuyonga own goal, and Mikola Kuharevic's late goal saw off Livy, who played most of the second half with 10 men after Jack Fitzwater's red card. They even ended up with 9 men after Stefan Omuyonga had to go off injured. It was an emotional day for Hibs, as I was saying, but the players stayed composed and extended their unbeaten league run to 7 games. They really are in good form. Livy started well. Nicky Devlin had a chance, Christian Montano, then Joel Nuglu put them ahead after 10 minutes, collecting a long pass, showing nice footwork and firing in past David Marshall off the underside of the bar. Hibs didn't really go off to a good start. They struggled to create, but that all changed in the half-hour mark. Chris Cadden's long ball cut Livy open. Yuan raced clear and he slipped his finish past Shamal George. Then in 37 minutes it was 2-1 to Hibs. Yuan again, his 5th goal in 5 games. Scored the game with a low finish after a 1-2 with Matthew Hopp. Hopp was in the thick of the action in the second half. His pace is so dangerous for teams. He missed a good chance to make it 3-1 and was then involved as Fitzwater was sent off. Defender basically just took him out as he raced through. It was a simple red card. It was checked, but it looked a red card all the way. Livy tried to chase the game. You always felt they would maybe get caught in the counter, and they did after 61 minutes. Yuan again was involved. He sent Chris Cadden clear. To be fair to the fullback, he tried to square for Yuan to get his hat-trick, but Omuyonga chasing in deflected the ball into his own net. The Livingston midfielders, I said, then limped off before the end. Livy had used all their subs. It was a total day to forget. And then in injury time, I think 98 minutes on the clock, Kevin Nisbet had a shot saved. It came back to Kuharevich. He scored. The goal was given as offside, and then after a lengthy check, a lengthy delay, it was given 4-1. Full time, Livingston 1, Hibs 4.
What a day it's been, but what did you make of it? That's the most important thing that we find out on a Saturday afternoon. So it's 0141 951 1025. Let's go with the open line right now. Get those calls in. Rangers fans, how was that? Was that an appropriate response to last Sunday? What was good? What was bad? Who impressed you? Who still worries you? Let us know. Motherwell fans, is that you almost safe? How big a win was that? Drama to be had at Livy Hibs as well. And we've still got a 6 o'clock game. Jim Goodwin back in football, Dundee United manager against his former team. We'll get to that and plenty of your calls next.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboard's open line.
Always enjoy a Saturday afternoon. We like to find out from you lot who've been at the games. What was it like? What caught your attention? Whether it was something brilliant, something terrible, a referee, a